This game, this enthralling, captivating game, it's a strange thing to be captivated by. Strange because of its contradictory nature. You need at once to conform, yet create. You need to work hard, but it is, after all, recreation. It is played across borders, across landscapes, and across cultures, and is loved by millions. The origin of this affection is, perhaps, because at its essence it is child's play. It is the delight of possession and the joy of sharing with your mate. It's the thrill of the chase and the satisfaction of the sweet spot. It gives a sense of purpose and a knowledge of self. In the tough and not so tough moments, you learn more about yourself than you otherwise might have. It resonates because the child that fell in love with football still lives inside each of us. At this time, it is pertinent to consider the freedoms that these children enjoy. That they are free to play and to thrive in this country is due to the sacrifices made by sons and daughters past and present. Men and women who will never watch their own children at play because they have given everything. Consider, for a moment, the magnitude of that gift. The best we can do is to come together in their honour, conduct ourselves so that we validate their sacrifice and express our gratitude. So let's share the day, give our thanks, stand as one, then let's play.
The wisdom and the unmistakable voice of John Kennedy guides us towards Domain Stadium tonight, the 20th Len Hall game. This is West Australia's contribution to Anzac Day, which Fremantle has made its own. And on home turf, they look to protect their unbeaten record against the Sydney Swans, a worthy foe if ever there was one. The Dockers have hit the season powerfully indeed. Their lineup tonight with Tendai Mzungu as the sub, they just look beautifully poised coming into this season.
I think they're the best travelling team in the comp at the moment. We just need to see Adelaide perhaps play against good opposition. But right now, if I had to pick and swear by it, who is the best performed team in the comp right now? To me, it's Fremantle.
Same, I think the same. I think I've watched them against Geelong and they were just powerful. They were big and strong and they carried the ball from stoppages and they had all parts of the game covered.
And I think their midfield, for how good it's been underneath Sandilands for so long, I don't think that midfield has ever gelled as well as it is right now.
The Sydney Swans offer a great test of this. Gary Rowan is the sub here, Sellers.
Yeah, I think their midfield's come back. They got belted up in the grand final. They've shown a bit of character lately and they're starting to come back with Hanbury and Jack and Kennedy and those sort of guys, and they're starting to win. Their forward line is unmistakable. It's fantastic. You've got the Franklin in there who's a freak, but their defence for mine is their problem. It's the only one that I see is they've got a small problem and they need to be protected by the midfield and the forward line to be able to win games.
What I like about both teams is that both teams have got a lot of good team players, like little names, no names, who just actually do things for the team and get them over the line.
I couldn't stand them.
And,
oh, no, you probably didn't know their names. They were all around you.
He didn't even know the coach's name.
They'd both beaten Port Adelaide on the way here, so this felt like the battle for the #1 contender, but with Port Adelaide leading Hawthorn by 52 points at the start of the second term, we might have to weigh these things up at the end. David King is in the lab with a view towards the west.
Things have changed out in the West, Jerry, with the Ryan Crowley issue in the off-season. He's no longer part of this midfield. They no longer tag in at centre bounces. They no longer tag around the grounds. A little bit of Clancy Pearce from time to time, but what that's done with this mix going in there now is they're incredibly aggressive. They're an offensive weapon. They know that Sandlands is going to get the hit-outs. He averages 25 more than his opponent week to week, and it's changed their numbers dramatically. +3 clearances last year on their opponent, which was competition number 1, to +13. That's a territory advantage and a scoreboard advantage, as you can see there, going from +3 points on average on their opponent week to week, which is mid-table, to plus over 4 goals. When you're talking about a club that only needs a small margin of improvement to become an absolute bona fide grand final contender like the Fremantle Dockers are, that's exactly what Ross Lyon has fallen into.
Thanks, Kingy. The observance ceremony is coming up from Domain Stadium. The honour guard is entering the grounds, led by a lone riderless horse with a pair of boots set backwards in the stirrups and the saddle stripped as an additional symbol of respect and mourning.
Sheep, proud partners of Saturday footy on Fox all season long.
From the dawn in major cities and small towns to the shores in Gallipoli, it has been an emotional day throughout the nation as times have been remembered, sacrifices and courage, and now at Domain Stadium they join in the observance ceremony.
Left, turn. Guard, open order, arch. Guard, right, press. Guard, eyes, front.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Australian Football League, the Fremantle Dockers and the Sydney Swans football clubs invite you to join the coaches, players and umpires as we honour the Anzacs and all those men and women who gave their lives in the service of their country. Our thoughts too are with those currently on active service. Would you please stand and remove your hats for the Anzac observance? To join us on this occasion, we welcome Mr Graham Edwards AM, State President of RSLWA, to recite the ode.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Guard, present arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain upstanding for the Australian National Anthem to be performed by Australian Army Band musician Troy Fleming.
Crowd, present up!
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth foretold. Our home is good by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So after the solemn commemoration comes a moment of celebration, a football game to honour what has been gifted to us by the deeds of the past, and a true marker of what's going to happen in 2015, two of the powerhouses, Fremantle and the Sydney Swans. We join our call team, Cameron Mooney, Alistair Lynch and Anthony Hudson.
Thank you, Jared, and it certainly is an honour to be here for this, the 20th annual Len Hall game. It's been a huge day. Of course, the solemn nature of the occasion has been really well recognised by our game. But the anticipation for this one, Lynchy, it could well be the best game of all the day, because these two sides are unbeaten, and Fremantle looking to make it 4 wins at the start of the season for the first time in their history.
Yeah, two superpowers going head-to-head, both undefeated teams. Should be a cracking game. There always is a lot on the line when these two teams meet. It should be no different tonight, Moons.
No, look, it will be. It'll be fantastic. We'll look at the two best sides of the comp and arguably two of the best midfields in the competition as well.
So toss of the coin, Matthew Pavlich and Jared McVeigh.
Two superstars in their own right.
So a small win for the Swans. First up, Jared McVeigh will send the Swans to the right of screen. Cameron Mooney, let's have a look at Fremantle.
Well, when we do speak about Fremantle, we do talk about right now the best midfielder in the competition. It's led by that man there, Nathan Fyfe. Lockie Neal having an unbelievable year himself. David Mundy, between the three of them, 75 score involvements for the first 3 rounds. Unbelievable. And it's all led by that man to start, Sandilands, Lynchy.
Yeah, and talent runs deep for the Sydney Swans as well through the midfield. Josh Kennedy, #1 in clearances in the AFL, second to Fyfe with contested ball. Parker, the 2014 club champion, an extremely hard ball getter and ranked #8 in the competition. We know Buddy Franklin sitting at 2 on the AFL goal-kicking table with 11 goals. And Dan Hanbury, he's got off to a flyer this season so far, averaging at 30 disposals in the first 3 weeks. So another very good contest between these two teams. Plenty of good talent out there, and there's plenty of role players, as the boys were saying as well, that will have to play their role very importantly tonight.
No doubt. We always say it's a battle of midfield, but this more than ever, and he could be the key, Aaron Sandilands, with the 10-centimetre advantage. He'll take over Mike Pipe. Kurt Tippett is doing more ruck work than he previously has, and that's worked pretty effectively for the Swans so far.
Absolutely. Kurt Tippett spending a lot of time in the middle of the ground, which will help him get into the game as well and may help him forward. My concern from the Sydney Swans last week, although they won against GWS, is they had a few issues, and certainly conceding 30 scoring shots to GWS was a massive concern. I'm sure that's something that John Longmire would have looked at long and hard during the week. They can't afford to do that or play a similar sort of style and get away with it tonight.
Well, you're right, Hunter. We always do speak about the midfield battle, and they have to get on top, Sydney. If they do not, we're watching Fremantle, they'll just run straight through the middle of it.
So here we go. It's Fremantle and it's the Sydney Swans, both unbeaten until now. And a bit of an anticlimax as a free kick paid against the Swans' defence. So it's going the way of Fremantle, and Pearce is going to get the handball at the Spur, who completely lost his footing, but has time to regain it and drive them forward, somewhat unwieldy, into the 50, and it's pretty easy pickings there for Hanbury.
I think it was McGlynn was off the line a little bit too quick.
So Franklin, who was dominant for them last week with 5-5. His partner in crime up forward, Kurt Tippett, got a little bit lost in running there, and his kick was haphazard at best.
Yeah, just a bit of panic there in the early stages, and the adrenaline surging. You want to get off to a good start, and Kurt Tippett just needed to slow things down a little. If he could go quickly, but had to get back off his mark.
Duffield brings it across to Johnson, so it'll be a patient build-up here. Had plenty on offer, could have gone short to Walters, instead goes up there in 5-4. He came crunching over the top of Franklin. Clark was able to get it out. Fife missed it, Kennedy didn't. Into half forward. Johnson again is going to be close. It's over and out. It's great to have Moons upstairs with us tonight along with Lynchy, but we've got Ben Dixon down on the boundary, former Hawthorn champ. How are you, Dicko?
I think he's still enjoying that big lead from Nate Fife, but that's going to be a good contest. We saw Tippett and Johnson going head-to-head. Tippett's got to be right on his game to make sure Johnson doesn't get the run from deep defence.
Fife locking Lloyd up. Hanbury getting busy early. Kennedy tried to spear it in. It was anything but.
Go with that.
And it comes over the line and out of bounds.
Take two, Hutto. Can you hear me down there?
Good work, Dicko.
Well, boys, I just want to... The atmosphere is amazing, as we know. It's got the purple haze across. 17 degrees, not slippery at all, not a breath of wind, but I'm told the duel set in the second half, so the start's ever so important, but these two undefeated teams, I don't think it's going to be a case of a defence mechanism. I see we might sort themselves out early, but one thing about today, they're going to flex their muscles, and as we know, they're both undefeated, so it's going to be a cracker.
Well, we'll look to see if there's any tags. The boys are already looking for that. We'll get a better idea in the next few minutes. Parker ran to almost collect that as it was a bit of a wayward throw in. Stephen Hill, what a prime mover he's been for them. Bagged 3 more last week. And the ball over the line and out of bounds. Bit of a stilted start so far, boys.
Well, it is. You look at the couple of matchups that we are talking about, like Tabernar with Rampier. Now, that's a really interesting matchup. Obviously, Grundy has to go to that taller Clark that's playing deep down there with Jenny Richards going to Pav. So that's an interesting matchup for Fremantle, who can get on top with that one.
Sandilands dominated Pike when they last met in the finals last year in the qualifying final. That game won by the Sydney Swans. They won both games last year.
Looks like Kennedy and Fife are running side by side. They obviously have to be a little bit accountable, but they'll rack up plenty of disposals if that's the matchup for the majority of the night.
So Stephen Hill, in the prime of his career right now, 24 years of age, played over 130 games. Such a dynamic player. Barlow, another member of this midfield, finally gets to wind up. Pavlich didn't get the run out, and he didn't need to. Main just pops up in the right spot and takes the mark.
Oh, John Longmire would be filthy. That's a 50-metre kick that's gone into your defensive 50, and someone's taken essentially an uncontested mark with 12 players around. So they'll be going back through the tape right now as we speak to try to work out what the problem was there.
We're looking at Layla. Layla's the one that's gone back onto the mark, and yet he was down here trying to man up Barlow. So somewhere along the line there's been a miscommunication, and he's been left hung out to dry there, Layla.
Chris Main, fresh from a couple of goals last week. This should be easy for him. He's such an accurate striker normally. Well, he strikes all right, strikes the post.
That fixed him, Hutto. Well done. Early in the game, set the standards. But when there's an elevated kick, other defenders have got to drop off their man very quickly and kill that contest. So a bad mistake from the Swans defence. They missed the ball.
They did indeed. Ball brought in nicely to Cunningham, who dabs it somewhat dangerously inboard. Sam Reed's able to take the mark. And he goes short, and that's sound enough as Parker works it out to Richards. Glances down the ground. He really urging Tippett to get into the right spot, which he eventually did get to. Pike came, but Sandilands was steadfast. Ibbotson, Heaney's going to be a feature tonight. Hanbury works it out to Bird. They're advancing with more purpose now, the Swans. McVeigh, Franklin versus 2. McFarlane the lunge. Franklin stays in it. The ball goes over courtesy of Sutcliffe. And now we're going to throw in well inside the forward 50. They're getting a bit feisty down there.
Well, Buddy just got a little bit high on McFarlane, almost cocked him on the chin. So it needs to be.
There might have been a little bit there too.
Needs to be careful.
Look, one of the greatest defenders in the past 10 years, McFarlane. So you've got a big match up tonight with Buddy.
Went through a number of hands. Fife to Clancy Pearce. Screws the kick out of there, but not for long. Laidler.
It's whether they just chip around.
Purple jumpers everywhere in his field of vision. So he just sets it up. Tip it. Didn't really get a run at it. Just leaned over the top. And Sutcliffe again is the man to take it over the chalk, so we'll have a throw in.
Well, he did well there, Tibbetts. Sandilands was one that dropped right back in the middle there, and he just gave him a little nudge to make sure that, one, he didn't mark the ball, now two, they get another go at it.
Only goal, goalless so far, only score so far coming from Fremantle. Sandilands pokes it down. Fife doing the heavy work at both ends. Pearce kicks to half-back. Pavlich well up the ground. They all are. In fact, there's no Fremantle player between here and their goals. That might change in a flash because the free kick has been paid and it goes to Clark. Pavlich, yeah, he's straining every sinew to get back. Rampy couldn't stop him. Pavlich takes the mark. Kicked 3 behinds last week. Started the season in good goal-kicking form, but deserted him last week.
Well, it was just interesting. Sam Reid had the ball and threw it back way too quickly. I know you've got to be careful, you don't want to give away the 50, but he threw it back so quick that no Sydney players could get back, and they got a mismatch with Pavlich on Rampy.
Yeah, you can wait for the umpire to tell you to get it back.
Give a little bit of air.
Little height.
A lot of heavy breathing from Matthew Pavlich, who covered a lot of territory there. 6 goals, 4 for the season. It's going to be touch and go in the end, though. Cruise through for a goal. Fremantle had the first.
And a good start from the Fremantle Dockers. They've got off to a fly here. Here's the match out. The ball comes in long. Rampy did all he could. Pushed back hard into the body. Could have got a free kick. Not a lot in it, but great contested grab. And more importantly, to get Pav off to a good start and his team, he's converted that one from outside 50. So good start from the Dockers. The game has been played in the full half of the Sydney Swans for a majority, but quick transition to the other end. Have a look at the quick start last week.
Yes, we shouldn't be surprised if Fremantle get off to a fast start here. They dominated the opening term against the West Coast Eagles last week. Some amazing numbers. What would be a surprise if they can do it so convincingly against this opposition, the Sydney Swans? You'd think we'd dig in, but they've dug in there. A little infraction, and the free kick goes to Subin. Bangs it in towards full forward, the danger spot again. Well handled by Ted Richards. Forces it for McVeigh. Lockie Neal got held up, and good grab for McVeigh has been paid. Neal, of course, 42 disposals last week. Sure he won't get the same freedom tonight. Goes short for Lloyd.
But we talk about the 2 best clearance teams in the competition at the moment. It's Freo just really having a stranglehold on it. There's 6 clearances to 1, but the centre bounces, more importantly, hard over 2 zip at the moment for Freo.
Good strong effort from Kennedy on that wing. He had to just screw it back in haste.
But the defensive sweepers back there set up really well for Freo. This will be a big surge forward.
He didn't have a lot of resources to work with there. Back to Pearce, who's been outstanding so far this season. Pinpoints the pass. McFarlane.
That's what they're doing better now than they ever have. The way they open the ground up, the way they spread through that middle, they open up the middle corridor. But if they've got the guys out wide, they do use them. They use the ball very well at the moment.
There's a dodgy kick from McFarlane. Comes unstuck. Casual handball from McVeigh. Bird with a bit more haste. Got it moving. And now Shaw tracks a path towards goal. Had to wait. Was loath to give it off. Eventually Franklin. That was a big ask to screw it around the corner from 55. Not even Buddy could do that.
And there's his mate right there. His man just went and sat back. Great pressure from the middle of the ground. Allowed McFarlane then just go sit back and goal keep.
Cautious on the way out, Fremantle. Clancy Pearce working overtime back in defence.
That's the best way to play Buddy Franklin. You're going to have to concede possessions. You might as well let him have the possessions 80 metres from goal.
Well, if your midfield's on and they can put pressure on him, you can allow him to do that, get his kicks up there. As long as he's not getting kicks inside 50, you're happy.
Spur gets another crack at it. And this time, more penetration on the kick. Clark takes the mark. They've almost got to the wing.
Important player last week for Freo, Clark as well. Marked the ball well. Looked like a couple of weeks ago at Geelong he'd hurt his knee, but responded very well.
Richards, very attentive, got the spoil, and Hanover is able to work it back. Laidler, and now finds McVeigh back to Rampy.
Big switches on. Got to go quick.
Can use Grundy, then Cunningham out on this side of the ground. Had to wait for it to bounce, but not a real drama for him. Heaney pushing wide, his first real involvement so far. Wasn't a memorable one.
That's about his first mistake in a month of football, I reckon, Isaac.
So we'll forgive him?
We'll forgive him. I think he's got a couple of credits in the bank, but been a very impressive player, that's for sure.
He was extraordinary last week, wasn't he? Just had 10 disposals, but with those 10 disposals, he managed to kick 4 goals. Let's get down to Ben Dixon.
Pat Hutto, just the kicking efficiency. So far this season, Fremantle have been going at 85%. Tonight, 81%, and we know Sydney 68 tonight, so they're just turning the ball over. We know Fremantle have got the momentum at the moment, but when they've got the ball, they've just got to be a little bit smarter, cool it down a little bit, and then be composed.
Free kick plucked out. Subin brings spur. And now a drifting McFarlane into the game. Pearce is the next cab off the rank. McVeigh will be there to spoil. If he missed, he's pushing the boundary of 50. In fact, he's pushed it too far. And it might be extremely costly. Nancy Pearce will
big
get a shot.
penalty.
It's a big 50 too, just quietly.
Pearce, good game last week, 27 disposals. Such a valuable player now. But more of an opportunity through the midfield.
Well, everyone thinks Clancy Pearce, he's going to be a run-with player, but he's turned himself into so much more than that. And Rossi's been brilliant getting this guy fit over the last couple of years and into the game.
He steers it towards goal and steers it straight enough for Fremantle's second.
Super impressive start. You just see the disposals are pretty similar, as we heard from downstairs from Dicko. The use of the ball is a lot better at the moment from the Fremantle Dockers. Inside 50s, 5-3. Clearance has still been absolutely dominated by Freo. 7-1. They're belting him at that facet of the game, and Clancy Pearce has got himself on the scoreboard. He's had the 4 disposals early in this term and backed it up with a goal.
Well, they have been going inside 50, as you said, Sydney, Leachy, but only with the 3, but it's how they're going in there. They're going in there under pressure. They're bombing it in there. Fremantle's pressure around the ground at the moment is brilliant.
7 clearances, make it 8-1. 5 heaves it inside again. Tabernar from behind. Roles were reversed. Pavlich, you know, he's strong in the air, but also at ground level. Main, good give. Subin wants his left. Subin gets his left and gets another for Fremantle.
Well, they're just belting them in all facets. That's another clearance. They're running the ball. They're taking the game on. You said exactly right, Moons. Sydney are getting possession and bombing the ball long. More precise Freo at the moment. Using it well, using it 3-quarter kicks. But there's a wave of purple coming through from the middle to half forward. And they're just pushing the ball with momentum through and making the most of their opportunities. Midfield really on top. Pearce with 4. And Fife's just been really good with his 3 disposals.
Well, we showed the stat before from last week. They're fast starters. We saw that. They absolutely belted West Coast off the park in that first quarter, and they're doing exactly the same here to Sydney right now.
They've won all the centre clearances, and they've won 8-1 in total. So this is an area where we thought the battleground would be pitched, and so it's proved. Been dominated by Fremantle. A change at last for Sydney as the kick taken out wide. Heaney just couldn't quite hang on. And the Fremantle defence looked to spring into action. Ibbotson, very nimble, worked it through Sutcliffe's hands under some duress though. And the Swans at last able to put some genuine pressure on. McVeigh, here's Franklin one-on-one. Surely that was, well, it was close to a free kick on McFarlane. But he pleads his case gently to the umpire.
Look, it's what he does so well, McFarlane. He doesn't allow you to get off him. He gives a lot of arms around. He gets you off balance, and he's so good at doing it that he still doesn't give away free kicks, doesn't he?
Sounds like someone scorned.
Scarred over the years.
10 years of playing on him. He is seriously one of the best defenders, you know, we've seen in the last decade in this game.
But that is the art. Read the ball quickly off the boot, protect the drop zone, and do everything you can without giving a free kick away. Makes it very difficult for the forward.
Mundy came away with it cleanly to Fife. Good service, back to the wing. Reed in front, did well, attacked the footy, took the mark. Grundy can work to the outer side. Rampy, he's a left footer, so he should be able to get it in there quickly if that's what he desires. Stubbed his toe as he kicked it, and in the end it's out of bounds.
Just a bit of a reflection how their forward half is working. Let's have a look at the score sources at the early stages of this game. Obviously it's all Freo, and that's come from stoppages. That's no surprise, and that's reflected in the clearance stats. 9-2, and that's where the scores have come from.
Sandilands again monstering over the top. Pike try and sort it out there, but no elbow room, and there's no getting away. We've got another ball up.
Well, you look at this year already, Lynchy, they've scored 73 points from stoppages, Fremantle. I mean, that's just enormous.
Just saw there at this stoppage, Kennedy and Fife head-to-head. So two superpowers, another clearance to Freo. Away they go.
And the top two contested possession players in the competition going head-to-head, but it's all one-way traffic at the moment. Walters and Pearce involved. Back to Taberner for a second crack at it. His kick wanders inside the 50 without a lot of conviction. Good spoil Grundy, good backup Wade. Labatt, the stress of the situation, the pressure applied. They're turning the screws here, Fremantle early.
It's the manic pressure applied from Freo when they don't have the ball. And that's why they're missing targets, the Sydney Swans.
So Main, this, you'd think just beyond him. Now it is, he goes for the pass to Hill.
Their reaction to transition's just been too slow, Sydney. When Fremantle have won the ball, Fremantle players are actually running past Sydney. They've got to get on the defensive side, spar them back, stop their run a little bit. They're just getting it on their own terms, Fremantle.
Even on that occasion, the defender, I think it was Parker, wasn't protecting the dangerous space. There was a fair bit of grass between the ball carrier.
3 goals last week, Stephen Hill. He is a punishing kick, and that was mighty close.
Sure, what we're seeing from their defence at the moment, as soon as the ball's anywhere near them, they're panicking. They're just sticking to their man. Look, it is coming down at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you do that as a backman. You can panic a bit, but you can't go away from the team things and not coming off your man, Lynchy, and not getting in that space.
Yep.
Better ball use by the Swans on the outer side, Evan.
Nowhere to go.
Allowing for the fumble. Again, loath to kick at Hanbury. Waited for something to materialise, and it did. Kurt Tippett really had to work hard then against a couple of Fremantle players to provide the right option. Franklin's...
So the first two players back, Mundy and Fife already.
He's got to try and jump over 3. Impossible.
There he is.
That's the lack of patience and composure with the ball. I think Kurt Tippett and the Sydney Swans midfielders have got to chip the ball around. A bit of patience to get a bit of quality ball going inside 50. They're just blazing away. Too easy for a very disciplined defence and midfield.
Tippett did everything, but yes, he has been paid the mark, so there's no advantage there to be taken.
Just the work rate from their midfielders who just scream straight back inside 50 to block up that space.
Here we go again.
Well, try again, try and get it over a giant.
He's the biggest bloke in the country, and they've just kicked it down his throat. Mightn't have seen him.
I suspect the frustrations would be pretty high in the coach's box.
Well, it is, as Moon said, they're rushed at the moment, Sydney. There is no composure, and we've seen this team over the last decade, a very composed, great leadership through the midfield. At the moment, we're just not seeing it.
Johnson takes the mark from De Boer. Duffield runs to give him something along the line.
And we're about to see Fife just trying to push inside 50 with Smith on him right now. So that's a matchup from Freeman. I'm getting him deep as I can.
He's a handful wherever he is on the field. Kick ease down the line for Pavlich. Did he take it? No. So the Swans scoreless after 19 minutes of play.
They've just handed over here. Just see that face plant from Pav. There's a handover. Rampy's gone to Fife deep.
Sandlin's over the top again. No clean break. Seemed to be some confusion as to what decision was being paid there between the two umpires.
But again, as soon as the free kick's given, what do you see? You see Fremantle forwards all screaming up to the middle of the ground to block up that space. Then you see the midfielders dropping back in front of Buddy. Just brilliant teamwork.
So McVeigh takes it, but as Moons is suggesting, it's not really advancing the cause too far. Kieran Jack.
And this is where I think they've got to soak up the pressure now. They've got to maintain possession, edge it forward, don't get sucked in or forced to blaze away to where they're outnumbered. So, yeah, chip it around, bit of patience.
Teddy's just come on this side of the ground, so they've got numbers over here.
And they're not seen, though, at this stage. So Nick Smith really asks a lot of himself as a wobbly ball.
Big switches on.
Into the middle. Now it comes to this side. Shorter Richards. Got Lloyd to use if he wants to. He does. Again, it's a scrappy build-up. Fremantle have most of the bases covered. At least they've maintained possession. McLean.
Well, they're lucky there. They've got to go back to the other side, I would have thought.
Well, they're going again. Hanbury try to give him something, and it gets it over the line inside 50. So maybe that's a better chance for them at the moment.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It would certainly get a stoppage inside 50 is a real plus for them. It's not getting rebounded.
Well, not the way they're giving their stoppages at the moment.
Well, that's right.
This is going to be run out of there by Fremantle the way they're going.
You've got to just be patient, chip it around.
McFarlane did the ruck work. Down to Lloyd. Kicks it into the pocket, and again, heavily outnumbered. And the mark comfortably taken by Sutcliffe.
Free kick to Johnson from Tippett.
Okay, so Johnson takes it and is using Ibbotson on the way out.
That was just frustration. The forward was outnumbered 2-1, gave the free away.
Good to see Ibbotson getting some continuity into his football. Talented defender come midfielder. Now there's a free kick for in the back, and again it's going Fremantle's way. Lachie Neale to take it.
Lachie Neale, he's had a great start to the season, hasn't he? Certainly last week was huge. He finished off the season, averaged 30 disposals over the last 5 weeks in 2014.
Walters excites, gets it to half forward. Main, Pearce, all had a piece of it. Richards, the pressure just grows and grows. That's a big win to the Swans. Lovely tackle. That should be 50 metres now.
Yeah, it should be. Great tackle.
Away. Not paid.
Sam Reid, he's looking long. Outnumbered 3-1.
Oh.
It was a horrible choice, horrible execution.
And a painful result. They've got a free kick.
Well, he got a free kick there for a knee in the back for Hanbury.
He knows how to wear them, doesn't he?
And it was against Sutcliffe, I think, because he didn't lay a hand on the ball when he jumped in that contest, but very lucky to get away with that, Sydney.
Oh, Hanbury, he is a target, isn't he? He does cop it a lot, but he's just given Reid the old thumbs up. Thanks, mate.
Especially in big matches. Kicks it to half forward, his 8th disposal. McLean, this is the sort of buzz they need. Franklin's got a chance here. He just wants a 50-50 chance. That's all he needs, buddy. And he takes the grab.
That's where we saw he did most of his good work last week. In that right of screen near pocket, he pumps most of his leads out to that side. And this should be no problems from 25 metres out, but often the close-in ones for some of the big forwards at the moment are the hard ones.
It was great work from Benny McGlynn. He got the ball and broke a couple of tackles, and it was a beautiful kick to the fattest side of the ground. So there's no way a Fremantle player could spoil it.
The Swans' first goal comes from a predictable source, Buddy Franklin. And it comes at the 22-minute mark of the opening term and reduces the margin to 14 points. Buddy, this is his 14th game here at Domain Stadium for now 29 goals.
So great use of the body, just fended off McFarlane. As we've said, a very experienced defender, just held him at arm's length and took a chest mark. Great work here from McGlynn to be in front and centre to take the ball when it hit the ground and then take off and put it to the favoured side of Buddy Franklin out into the space, the dangerous space.
So that will make them feel considerably better.
Well, they've been absolutely under siege. The disposal count is still fairly even. +2 to Sydney, actually, but disposal efficiency still, or kicking efficiency, 84-65.
They find eventually a way out of there through Richards. McGlynn, who's given them a little bit of life, and he's just prepared to try and break through the wall. And it was the wrong way to go back. He couldn't go back. Pearce towards the line and eventually walked over by Reece Shaw.
I think Sutcliffe's hurt himself there. He came off his man in Heaney and pushed forward, which was a brave defensive move, and just copped one maybe on the chin or hurt his shoulder in that contest. Just pretty slow to get up.
And he's staying out there for the moment with the ball in the vicinity. Parker, Sandilands, the advantage of 5. And he got it back again from Pearce, but maybe a little clip over the shoulder. Pearce, that'll help. Look at them break, look at them spread to the outer side. Buddy, though, he's going to hunt this down and take the mark in the middle. He's got Tippett deep. If he gets in there quickly, which he does, got to take on 2, Kurt Tippett. And he forced the ball to ground at least, but then Johnson was smart. McFarlane, life pretty difficult back there, though, as they push and push. Johnson's kick is wayward, out on the full, and the Swans have been able to just gain a little bit of ground in the last few minutes.
And they're away again. Quick ball movement.
Heaney to the gift to Buddy.
Oh, look out. Oh, can't go again.
I think it was already out of bounds.
But you called...
trying to steamroll everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see. Have a look at that, the big fella. Big front row forward.
A bit of Jonah Lomu about that.
Cam Sutcliffe, boys. He just indicated to the trainers that he got one in the sternum, so you can see in the replay Benny McGlynn's shoulder went into his sternum, so nothing major. He's still out there.
Neil to Pavlich. Decided not to go to Mundy instead. He's got Main in his sights. Rampy. Last man standing is Rampy. Oh, then he went to ground at the critical moment. He's over the top of it, desperate to get it out.
The crowd's involved. The umpires, he's poised.
Crowd are going to love it.
Absolutely. That was great work.
It's on in the middle of the ground here as well. There's a bit of to do there. But a quick kick out of a contest. What you want your key forward taking that front spot. A big contested mark from Pavlich. That's why he's such a star. Then he turns and just gets it straight in. He knows exactly what all forwards want. You just want a chance one-on-one, so he gets it straight in there with Mundy, with
Main and Rampy. Rampy did everything right, but then went to ground and was in all sorts of strife.
So Chris Main, that poster early on. 25. And surely this time he will convert to give Fremantle's 4th goal. Not a problem. Fremantle's 20-point lead is restored at Domain.
Again, another very good answer. The concerns for Sydney are still Fife. He's had 4 clearances. He's been very good. Here's the good work from Rampy until he went to ground. Once he went to ground, he's in all sorts of strife. And we see in modern-day football, the opposition will not let it get out. There is no way that's going to get out. Rampy, he can do all he wants, but that was going to be hold the ball. Good conversion from Main.
You're right. Well, we're going to be harping on it all night, but their clearances are just unbelievable from Fremantle. Running 12-5 around the ground. They're completely dominating. Sandilands is just putting it where he feels like it, and the boys are just having an absolute field day running through stoppages.
Fife with 6 disposals in the middle, looking for his 7th. Well done, Pike, though, with the follow-up. And Tippett with a lunging mark about 45 to 50 metres out from goal. At his best, he should be able to put this one through.
That's right. And with Kurt Tippett, it's all about the ball drop, and especially early in the game. If he can hit the first one, it'll flow throughout the night. So watch the ball drop here. He's got a very interesting approach to his stance. He's approaching.
10 goals at Subiaco in 7 games, so it hasn't been a really happy hunting ground for him in terms of kicking bags of goals, and he's missed that one.
And when we get a chance, we'll have a look at the drop, Moons. I mean, you kick many goals. The way he holds the ball is it's a really difficult one to drop low. He drops it very high, but with that grip, it's going to be very difficult to drop it low.
Sutcliffe finds Mundy along the way. That opens up further. Duffield. He had Walters. It was a matter of when he was going to give it to him. Has it in hand now, and suddenly Fremantle is surging with De Boer. Now Pavlich has gone down inside the 50. De Boer tries to keep it in, but fails.
I think it was a clash of heads with Ted Richards and Pav. Whether Pav's turned around and run into Ted's shoulder or head.
We'll see if he remonstrates, you know.
The snoz is
no
bleeding.
Remonstration, so no, it's probably just a pure accident.
Good claret. He's still staying a few stars. He'll be blood binned out shortly.
Sandilands over the top, and then Hill sends it straight back.
There has been a change. Fife has got the tag from Bird now, so I think they've had enough of all this clearance work, and Bird made his way over. There's a bit of a handover going on now, but Parker goes to him at this stoppage.
Here is Bird, back to the wing. Tippett's had to do a fair bit of bullocking work. Oh, and then he's hurt himself in the artificial turf.
Well, it's interesting, though, Litchy, that they didn't start with Bird as a heavy tag straight on him. We know he's the best clearance player in the competition right now. With Sandilands, the way he's hitting it down his throat, you needed to put someone on him. He's had 4 clearances already this quarter.
Here he goes again.
Come up for number 5.
And he almost got it through the Mundy, but not quite. Parker, who's not bad in that area himself, got it to half forward, but that's where it comes to a grinding halt. Lee Spur. He's got McFarlane, as you can see, on that outer side, prepared to use him. Pearce busting a gut to give him something, but he likes Ibbotson even better. If he can lay it off, Lockie Neal was there, but the siren puts a halt to that. opening quarter again has belonged to Fremantle. They've kicked 4 goals to Sydney, 1-1-7 here at Domain Stadium in Perth. A beautiful night to finish off a huge Anzac Day of football, and it's the home team in charge at the first break.
Sheep, proud partners of Saturday footy on Fox all season long.
2 unbeaten teams filled with stars, particularly in the midfield, but also at both ends of the ground. Buddy Franklin, Matthew Pavlich, and lots of highlights from the opening term. If you're a Fremantle fan, they dominated in the middle, and they were able to take a reasonable advantage of that domination, enough to kick 4 goals to Sydney's 1, as this Anzac Day of football comes to its conclusion here at Domain Stadium in Perth. 4-2-26 Fremantle, Sydney 1-1-7. Buddy Franklin kicking the only goal for the Swans. Alistair Lynch, Cameron Mooney. We talked before the game this was going to be one in the midfield because they've both got superb team of midfielders and they're working so well together. Sandlin's a pretty handy advantage for Fremantle.
Oh, absolutely, and we saw out of the first 9 clearances, 8 went Freo's way. Sydney have been able to arrest that slide very well. So John Longmire, for the last 10 minutes of that quarter, will be very pleased. It hasn't been realised on the scoreboard as yet, but they're starting to take a bit of control in the midfield.
Let's get down to Ben Dixon.
Thanks, Hutto. Just touching on the midfield, I want to look at the comparison because we talk about the dominance of Fremantle in that first quarter, and they've been off to a flyer in their first quarters. They're big bodies, the Fyfes, the Mundys, the Barlows, those type. They're throwing Sydney around at the moment, and that was the Achilles heel in the grand final against the Hawks. Sydney just got pushed around. If you look at the size of these boys, they're big, but they can get on the outside. They're powerful runners. They've shown Sydney a clean set of heels in that quarter. Sydney got to get on, show their weight. We know clearances, contested possession, everything's down on Sydney's half. This quarter's when they need to bounce back.
Absolutely, Dicko. I think, and that's what the great luxury of being able to drift Fyfe forward, and he's a really dangerous player, whether in midfield or forward. So that's a massive asset to have that size in your midfield.
What Fremantle do so well, and look, we've talked about there being a great defensive team for so long under Rossi Lyon. If you just watch them live, you watch how they just create that spare number back at the last minute. They don't go and sit someone there. They do it right at the last minute. So then when the kick goes in, we saw City do that plenty of times. All of a sudden they're kicking into a 2-on-1.
Second quarter then from Domain Stadium. And again it's Pike who tries to stymie Sandilands but is unsuccessful. There's a whistle.
Yeah, from the non-officiating umpire up in the forward half for Freo, and it goes to Fyfe, and it was against Kennedy. So Kennedy and Fyfe have started head-to-head again for this second term.
He angles the kick. He's going to give Main a chance to try and fly, but he's muscled out of it by Grundy. Good, strong defence for the Swans. Now, Jetta, we haven't seen a lot of him so far. He is off and running, but he's got nowhere to run to. So he had to just halt in his tracks a little bit and give it to McVeigh.
That was his first disposal, and there's plenty going on in back play, Hutto. We'll keep an eye on that one. You call the ball, but there's players being thrown everywhere.
A little bit distracted, I have to say, Lynchy, as the kick comes into the 50. Again, Franklin, he's the go-to man, as he so often is, and he's drawn a free kick.
In his favourite side, that left-hand side, and there's a...
Still on down the back. Harry Cunningham was the one that went to ground, and
he's
getting
off,
up worse
Buddy.
where, and he is now coming off.
Buddy runs around. We know he loves to do that, and he misses. Matt de Boer's a bit of an off-the-shoulder number down there, Lynchy.
That's right. And when you're in that sort of nick, you can do that.
And
jumper on, I think.
Yeah, you touched on this, boys. Yeah, Benny
go.
McGlynn jumped in, but you're right. Cunningham copped the initial one off de Boer, and Benny stood up and then copped his whack as well, so he ran off. But nothing untoward is what I saw.
Johnson goes for Sandilands and de Boer, who's still wearing the aerodynamic top at this stage. Close to the line and eventually over on the full. Now, a bit of acting going on here. Kieran Jack, no one knows it. None of the players realise it. It's a Fremantle free.
So Kieran Jack, you called his name. He's only had the 1 kick for the game.
Well, he and Parker have only had the 3 possessions between them at the moment.
And Jetta had his first disposal just then. So 0 in the first quarter.
So they're not getting any real run from their midfield at the moment. Oh, hang on, what's happened here?
Time elapsed. Just got rid of it in time. Now he knows he wants to go to his left side. So, well, he hemmed him in. He'll still skillful enough to get a kick away, but on the full. So
well done, Craig Bird.
Yep.
Extremely well played.
Ted Richards.
De Boer's just got the new shirt on, I think, and still hasn't got it on quite right yet.
Brings it back into the middle.
That's where the switch go back.
His shirt's getting...
He's still showing a little bit of flesh there.
It's getting shorter and shorter as the kick from Grundy is tossed up into the air. Kieran Jack has a downfield free paid. There's a bit of angst out there, which Sydney need in some ways, don't they, to try and work their way back into the game. They've got to somehow manage to upset Fremantle because they are the superior combination at the moment. Ibbotson eases it out of defence for Walters. Stunning mark at halfback under some pressure. Wants to give, does. The dash comes from Duffield to half forward to Main. Through two lots of fingers. Hits the ground. A little handball and good protection provided from De Boer for Clark. Fife to the full spin around. It's enough to make the defenders very nervous. Free kick against Rampy to Nat Fife.
It's hard to see who was actually holding on. I think both players were doing it. I think that's a tough decision on Rampy.
I think at some stage, I think Rampy gets turned around. So as soon as he takes his eye off the ball, that's what the umpire looks for.
But your call was when he gets turned around, so he's probably been pulled around. So see the contest here, and he's probably...
look at that. It's pretty stiff.
Very stiff.
So Nat Fife already 8 disposals, and this for his first goal of the night. Fremantle's domination continues.
And we say week in, week out about this young man. He's a dominant force when on the ball, but when you push him forward, he's a really hard matchup because he's strong in the air. Now, two players wrestling here. Fair chance he's actually got Rampy over the shoulder as well. So I think that's one. It's probably a play on, but good transition off halfback.
Well, it was Trent. Look, we go back to the Ibbotson intercept, and that was absolutely brilliant. This is what he's now brought into his game. Coming back, flying like that. He got great protection from McFarlane, came back with the fly to the ball. You know, that's what he's brought to his game now, is Ibbotson.
Absolutely leads the competition in intercept possessions.
Well, he's given their defence a more nimble look, hasn't he? Obviously, Dawson's been out injured for a while, so not only is there no Crowley tagging, they're more aggressive out of defence as well.
Matthew Pavlich, boys, just quickly copped that knock in the first quarter. The doctors have been with him for most of this quarter, just assessing him. He's been up and down on the boundary, but not confident at the moment. They've still trying to obviously stop his nose from bleeding as well, so it might have been a bit behind play.
Lachie Neale just had his third disposal, so not quite the same sort of numbers as last week, with 42 and best on ground. As Nick Smith does what he had to do, and it's over the line and out of bounds. Walter's such a dangerous player up forward too. Of course, no Hayden Ballantyne. He's just out suspended. But still, it's a very potent forward line when you've got a midfield like this to bring it in. So it's on its way back. Pike fending away. There's Neale starting to get amongst it. Taberner held off by Richards. Jetta had to break the tackle. Rampy didn't like the look of that or that, but he has to go back again. It's tough going down there for the Sydney defenders. Duffield will take this. No one on the mark.
He's got to run in.
He should just run on. He doesn't. Curious.
He's got a 2-on-2 in the square. He just needed to get it in there.
We'd think he'd be surprised if he has a shot here. He'd pull this to the top of the square.
Exactly what he does. There's plenty of height. Clark came out with great authority. Takes the mark. And we'll line them up for Fremantle, looking for goal number 6.
Well, we talk about their forward line going forward in the future when Pav retires, whenever that is, in another 12 months or 2 years. You know, they've got Taberner down there. They've got this guy down there now who's probably got drafted as a ruckman, Lynchy.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You throw him down in the forward line. We're seeing him now grow as a player and take big contested marks at 10 metres out.
So Clark comes in and made the goal umpire work a little bit, but not too much. Another one to the Dockers.
And that's where he is dangerous. We've seen him play on the wing as well, Moons, but if you put the ball 15 metres out, that was a perfectly weighted kick to the top of the goal square, but it's not too close to the goal line where it can be spoiled through. Now, he's got a 15, 20-metre run on that. Extremely hard to defend against a 6'7", 6'8", forward when he's got a 20-metre run at a pack there. So hard for Grundy, but really well set up. Beautiful kick in.
Well, here's the recent history between these two sides. And we know the Swans won both games last year, including that crucial qualifying final. That was in Sydney, but we remember here a couple of years ago when Fremantle brought the pressure in spades and Sydney wilted. And so back here in Perth again, once more it's Fremantle making the running in a more attacking vein tonight. They've kicked 6 goals to 1. And here's Ibbotson escorting it over the line and out of bounds. Well, anyone who was doubting that this Fremantle team is really more potent than it used to be, would now, you would think, as we head into this 4th week, have enough body of evidence to be believers, Lynchy.
Oh, absolutely. They've raised the bar as far as their attacking play, but lost nothing on the defensive side. Their team defence is just is manic, the way they push into the face of their opposition. They get big numbers back, typified by Fife being way back here in the defensive 50 now. Let's have a look at the top 5 clearance winners on the ground. Fife with 6, then down to Subin, Hill, Neal and Kennedy with 2 apiece, but Fife is the standout, as we see most weeks. Kennedy's dropped off him now, and Parker is continuing that run with roll.
6 clearances already. It is stunning, isn't it, from that Fife? Tippett and Spur in front.
It was good work from Spur, even better from Johnson, to take the run of Tippett and allow Spur to come across the front. Now, we've seen it from Ibbotson and we've seen it from Spur. They're combining very well, that back 6.
Oh! Almost.
Don't drop those.
Deserved to be taken.
Oh, he had a poster for life.
He did. Pearce, and if he gets the right shot, he still might be able to hang that up. Moons, this was just before I took a screamer.
Oh, great leap. That's what you like to see, but you've got to grab and have a look at this ground level camera.
Just pause it there.
Oh, he's on the way down here. Probably be a bit disgruntled with, I think, Rampy to get him to hold his feet, hold me up a bit longer.
Pike brings it to the ground. Hanbury, even he's gone cold after starting strongly. Some high contact on Bird, goes unseen and unwhistled. Subin, Fife being thrown all over the place. But the umpire lets them keep going at it for a bit more.
Strength those players in there. Bird trying to wrestle Fife to the ground.
Now it's Parker showing Fife close attention. Gives him a shove, but doesn't stop him. Doesn't impede him from getting over the top as the 3rd man up. He can do it all. Bird back to Parker, to Hanbury. Smart play. They're out of there through Lloyd. Going to be tough for McGlynn. The size was well and truly against him. So were the numbers. He persisted well. Put some pressure on Johnson, though. Showed a clean pair of heels. Now Hill to try and accelerate. Had Pearce, 2nd in the AFL for inside 50s going into this round. That's a shove. And that's a free kick and no advantage there, Dean.
The idea was right. I think Reece Shaw actually fell in the end and pushed Barlow far too hard in the back. He had to ease him under the ball, but he's just lost his feet there and gave away the free kick.
Well, held them up at least, didn't it?
Tell you what, Pav's moving, although he doesn't claim that mark, he's moving as well as I've seen him over the last couple of years. He looks fresh.
Well, it's funny, we talk about all these great midfielders of Fremantle. Daniel Pearce, absolutely static the way that he has started the year this year, and you spoke about him before, Hutto. He's inside 50s. He had 10 last week. He is another person that you just got to keep an eye on.
Oh, there's just so many of them now. Multi-dimensional midfield, and they all give something a little bit different. Subin's another. Kicks to the square and almost beyond. It's allowed to go through for behind.
Now, this is where teams, if they're slow getting this kick away, find it hard to get out the back of Freo.
Oh, dear.
And
That
again,
is always going to be trouble. De Boer bounces up well, flicks it around a bit, gets back to Tabernar. Shaw's over the top, and another one gone.
Yeah. Well, just the pressure again applied. The pressure on the kicker. I mean, it's such a difficult kick when kicking out from goals, and that was just a poor option.
If you're doing it against Fremantle, it has to be almost, you kick it to him, you can play on. That's how safe it has to be. Otherwise, you're kicking it right out, get out of there, because you know the manic pressure that's going to come, and we just saw it then. And again, we just see the tackling that they drag it back in. This is what players do so well now.
So he comes in and pops it through. Tabernar, it's his first, and 7 for Freo.
Well, now Freo kicked the last 4 goals on the back of that pressure, so they're working extremely well. They kicked the last goal on the first term, the first 3 of this term. And see here, Shaw goes to ground. Tabernar wraps him up, makes it extremely hard. Not sure there was a lot of prior opportunity, but once you dive on the ball and are seen to drag it in, your prior opportunity has been forfeited, and that's a free kick to Tabernar. And again, the pressure is rewarded with a goal.
Chris Mayne just came off, boys. Got the corky on the right thigh and looked really proppy. Tendai Mazunga is actually warming up as we speak. They may make a sub because he's not moving freely at all, and they've actually got an ice pack on it as we speak.
Pike hoisted across to half forward, but again, it was just a bit of hope more than anything. Ibbotson back to the wing, good pressure on De Boer, but he's able to fight the good fight. Got it through to Subin, who's been dynamic, and now Hill charging forward. A couple of bounces, he's capable, goes short to Pavlich. He wanted to share it. He's maybe just on the brink here, Pav.
Oh, I reckon he's still got this.
Yeah. Let's see if he has from 55. He has!
Oh, he's a superstar.
What a team.
And I'm not sure he did want to share that, actually. I thought he actually took it on the 49-metre line. He thought, oh, I've got this covered by a long way.
Did the old fake.
Yeah.
No.
Have a look at this. So have a look here. He gets into space really well. Now, gets back off the mark quickly. He has no intention of giving that off. He has the dummy look into the corridor and thinks, I can get the journey. The goal square was clear, so he gives him an extra couple of metres, and he's flushed that one, and that's over the fence. Really nice kick. 5 in a row.
Well, it's funny, Dicko spoke about it in that first quarter, how they're bursting out of stoppages at the moment, Fremantle, and they did it again. And that's how they got that overlap. Pavs, I think it was Teddy Richards, had to come up to the kicker to try and take him out. And then Pav was all by himself on top of 50.
43 points now. Kennedy gets it in, Heaney in front. Easy pickings, just dumped away cleverly by Sutcliffe. Heavy work for Spur, but not a problem. Subin draws a crowd. And we're going to have a ball up.
We talk about pressure. They're going at 60% at the moment, Sydney, with their kicking efficiency. I mean, that's the pressure that they've been put under by Fremantle. With Fremantle at the moment, they're running at 81%. So everything they do right now is just turning to gold.
Parker. Now Adler makes a bit of a run. Good dash shown for the Swans. He dabbed it into the 50 more than anything, and Duffield had that well and truly covered. And the Fremantle defence and the team again, not the best of handballs, has to be said from Pearce. Johnson, and now McFarlane lost the run of it. McGlynn had the handball in hope. The pressure was on to get rid of it for Parker. He did that in nice style. Grundy, a little cute, but effective enough. And he finds Lloyd. Now, Buddy calls for it on the outer side, but McGlynn.
Well, Buddy's got Sutcliffe on him at the moment, so he wants it badly, but decided to go back and get the kick.
Probably would have thought there's been a handover, and essentially Sutcliffe would have been on McGlynn. And McGlynn found the space, and that's why you can't be too Buddy conscious as an offensive unit. You've got to hit the short targets if they're available.
Benny McGlynn's taking advantage. Lockie Neal's off the ground. Those two have been going at each other all night, and Benny hopefully will capitalise, and he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. Good each other there. Franklin's got a free, I think. Yep.
Luke McFarlane's not happy at all.
He cannot believe this.
He was the one on the ground. He felt that he was thrown to ground. It's going to be a test for Bud.
Yeah, that right leg's only for balance. I've never seen him use it.
Just for walking on.
I've never seen him do it, Dicko.
So the check side on the left.
Post post.
Look at the post.
Well, the goal umpire's missed that.
I reckon he hasn't seen it.
Well, someone has.
Well, Johnson caught it very early.
I believe it's behind. Just going to check the hit post. Umpires. Thank you. Umpires call.
They paid the point. They just want to check and make sure it did hit the post, but certainly
Review underway.
Hit the post. 51 points to 8. Really dangerous time for the Swans.
It's all like they're not getting the ball inside 50 at the moment. It's 18 to 15 in favour of Sydney. We're just seeing it here in the replay.
Completed.
You just see it skim just there. It would have been pretty hard for the goal umpire to see that. He's just called it now.
Yeah, you're spot on, Moons. It's the quality of ball that's going in. It's only +3, or Sydney +3, so they're getting the ball in. But as we saw from the outset, a lot of it has been long bombed, has been turned over, and that's where Fremantle are launching their attack from.
McFarlane down the line, set up for Pavlich with the fly. Richards went with him every inch of the way. Play on, and Parker tries to. Grundy comes hard, but De Boer had the moves. Got it through to 5-5 Pavlich. Bit of a wild and woolly handball, controlled by Richards. Back for McVeigh, and then to Shaw, but where to next? Reinforcements from behind. Reed, jittery, fumble across half back. Got it back though to Shaw, who dabs it to the wing and finds Pike.
They've put Reed as a spare. down back at the moment. You don't.
Oh, look out.
Oh, God.
This is what Fremantle do so well, boys. They get in your face. We saw the ball there on the wing, and it's back now behind in the defensive 50. They're just so up in Sydney's face at the moment. They've just got nowhere to turn.
Smith kicks to the wing. Heaney comes to give him something.
Good lead.
He takes the mark and then peers down the line. There's nothing really for him. Kennedy.
Again, patience is required. Otherwise, bailout kick long to the boundary.
He wants to keep it away from Sandilands. That's his first kick of the night. And it's off the hands of Spur.
Well, that's well done. A kid playing his 4th game. The corridor was full. He couldn't hit a target there. So he goes 50 metres along the line, causes a stoppage. Sydney are starting to get back in the game as far as clearances are concerned, so they see this as an opportunity to move forward.
42 points the margin. Swans need to somehow find a way to come up with a couple of goals in this quarter. There's quite a few things they need to do, mate.
Well, Fife's had 11,
Night out at the moment.
8 contested, and a couple of
six clearances, 3 tackles, 2 inside 50s and a goal.
Yeah, he's doing pretty much all.
Well, he's close to the complete player, isn't he, at the moment?
Well, right now, I don't think there was a player in the competition that would sit above him.
Kennedy rubs it to forward again. Not great service. Bird on the end of it. Buddy with 2 to beat. It's going to be... Well, threatens Walters and just muscled his way. Wins the ball back. Then has to go and trace his own handiwork. Here's Hanbury to lend a hand. And it's over the line by Ibbotson. He'll have a throw in. Buddy doing his best to lift his team.
He is. He's working extremely hard, Bud, but every time he goes for the ball, it's a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Again,
every time.
Minimum.
Fremantle are very conscious that the Swans are Buddy conscious, and they're getting back and outnumbering him every time. No trouble here.
Hold the ball.
Thank you. Play on.
And quickly they look to sweep back through the middle. Cutting kick for
Aggressive.
Pearce. Jeddah made the spoil. He's given away the free.
Very aggressive move from Freo. They've got away with this one. They've got numbers on the far side, so their overlap should transition to a forward 50 entry.
Here's the ripple effect down the ground, although it's just held up for a moment. Pearce with a careful kick back into the middle for Hill. Glances into the centre, had De Boer on offer, but instead takes the more conservative route. Johnson in the logo. It looks like we've got Clark at centre half forward. Got Pav down the line.
They do this well, Freo.
They're so patient with the ball.
Help.
Hoping for Pavlich. Richards knew it was coming. Got it away to Kieran Jack, who's had very little impact on this game. Out to Cunningham. And again, the Swans go in the Buddy direction. Had to let it pitch first, which made it difficult. Standoff with McFarlane, did it well. Got dragged down after that. That could have been 50 metres. Not paid. The kick from Hanbury.
Well done, Clancy.
2-on-1.
Flipped away by Ibbotson.
Oh, that's legs.
Well done, Clancy.
Well, that's an interesting one. Thought he's gone low. He could have given away a free kick. Could have given away a free kick to Jeddah for the legs being hit.
But you're right before, Hutto, that was very much a professional foul from McFarlane. He knew Buddy was off. He just grabbed him and tried to bring him down.
The rule is if you get rid of the ball and you're dragged down, that you're impeded to be stopping to get to that next contest. It's a 50-metre penalty.
Thanks, Kurt.
This is why Rossi Lyon would love Clancy Pearce right now. The way he backed back into that pack, took the hit, got up, and then went again and got the free kick.
Well, that's right. We saw that last forward 50. We'll just see how they transition here. But the last forward 50 entry for the Swans, again, to a 2-on-1 situation. That's what they're doing extremely well.
Mundy soccers it. Shaw tries to capture it, but again, not clean. You go on in the back.
Go through, Brent, do you want to take it?
He wants to lay it off quickly. Get some movement. Rampy dabs to centre half back. Asks a bit of Hanbury. Had to react smartly, did. McVeigh looking for something in the middle. Going to get Jack, but Fife was there to put the pressure on, or perceived at least. Jack got a clip as he went to Franklin at half forward. Cruel bounce for Buddy. Charging through Kennedy. Runs straight into more Dockers.
Great attack of the ball.
There's a free kick already paid.
Free kick to McFarlane with Buddy got him a little bit high.
Well,
McFarlane was just trying to check him, stop him running back inside 50, and he does do that brilliantly. That's why he can be so annoying from a forward's point of view. The body checks you so well, and he frustrates you as a forward. And at the moment, he's starting to frustrate Buddy.
And at all costs, he's not going to allow Buddy to get goal side of him, because you're not going to catch him.
He overdoes that kick. Gives a chance for Franklin, who had a full head of steam.
Just got to be careful here, buddy. He's getting frustrated. Don't want to get weak.
Ibbotson felt it. Now it's Pearce's left boot, and it is a piercing kick deep for Tabernar.
Just outside the range. Going to have to find Pav top of the goal square.
Pav or Main or something short.
And it might have been better top of the goal square on that occasion. That's where Sydney got right back their midfield, top of the 50-metre arc, just to block it up.
McVeigh finds Bird. And along the line some more for the Swans for Lloyd.
This is Sydney, though. They just chip down the line or back in. They haven't got any free-flowing run whatsoever through the middle of the ground.
Tippett engaged in a wrestle. Pretty comfortably done by big Zach Clark. And Spurk decides to keep it in. The aggressive mind frame again on display. Walters short will want it back from Pearce. Tick that. Back through the middle. Driving kick for 5. Let's watch him in action some more. Takes the mark. Looking for the next one. Pav is there to his right. He's got Main covering some territory inside the 50. On the bounce, snared it. Was able to get it off. Subin pressed against the line. To the goal square. The wrestle was on there. Tabernar manhandles his opponent. And the free kick is going to Grundy, much to the disapproval of the crowd here.
What about the presentation at the ball from Nate Fife? He looked like centre-half forward. He looked like Stephen Kernahan running at the ball there.
Might as well just use him as a centre-half forward. He does it that well, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
So McVeigh, who's been one of their best, gets it up to half-back. And that's a strong aerial performance from Michael Johnson. So no let-off for this Sydney defence. It's coming in again. It's all set up. Pavlich couldn't get the run. 3 Swans players argue over it. Pavlich snatched it off the pack. Walters, numbers multiply. Reid dragged down. And eventually the umpire intervenes.
Well, again, Sydney still going under 60% now with their kicking efficiency. Spoke about it before, they just can't get anything going with it. The pressure from Fremantle is enormous.
The invisible ruckman went up for that one. McVeigh almost gets it to the line. The emphasis on almost for the Swans.
Smith. The defensive wall.
Yep.
They'll chip it around here.
Fife.
The way he's playing, he should have just had a shot.
Ibbotson.
Still go far side.
It's a 45-metre pass. And he finds Sutcliffe.
There's great patience. They were chipping the ball around from 60, and now they've just edged the ball in, so the shot will be just inside 50. So this is a kickable ball. But again, it was the patience that we've seen from Freo and the quality ball going inside 50. We haven't really seen from the Sydney Swans, although they're up as far as forward 50 entries are concerned.
He's kicked 13 goals in his 51-game career. It's going to work its way back. And through for another one. Massive night for Fremantle. They are crushing the Sydney Swans here at Domain Stadium. The lead out almost to 50 points. And what an awesome display it's been. A stunned Sydney coaching box.
Just a powerful display. And I'm so wrapped with their back six. Their back six of Freo, how they defensively set up so well to make it hard for the forwards of Sydney. Then their ability to transition to the other end of the ground, and they get involved. They stay involved, and they don't panic. They use the ball extremely well under pressure.
We talk about teams as we see Sutcliffe there. He's played 51 games. We talk about teams being old. Fremantle have only got one player under 50 games, and that's Matt Tabernar. So these fourth-year players like Cameron Sutcliffe have now played 50 games of footy. So whether they're old or not, they are ready, Lynchy, if they're going to be at their best.
Oh, absolutely. Instead of the class of Lockie Neal who gets involved there.
And again, they break through Subin. Main out of position this time. Reid did all the work. Preparatory work in excellent fashion there, and takes the mark, shares it with Grundy. Is there something for him? Cunningham trying to work hard to the outer side, but it gets away from him. And over and out.
Just everything's an effort at the moment for Sydney. They're working hard. They're probably not being rewarded because the midfield, I think, is leaking too much quality ball and putting their defence under pressure. Similar to last week, conceding the 30 scoring shots, and they're just not finding enough space. So I don't think they're working hard enough early enough.
Kick goes back to the middle. Pearce there to Neal. Now Spur, low entry into the 50. And that was comfortable for Nick Smith.
Hold there.
Came back into the Swans team after missing last week with injury. Goes short.
Stephen, hold there.
You
Hold there.
can't really get your game going from the Sydney point of view because they're just turning the ball over too many times. And again, you look at their kicking efficiency. I've mentioned a few times. When you're running at 60%, that's just horrible. But when you're running at 60% against Fremantle, you're just giving yourself absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Fremantle's is 82%.
That's a great contest, isn't it? Two class acts, both ex-Hawthorn players, and super contest. Two of the best of their trade in the competition.
Buddy hasn't played in a losing side against Fremantle since the elimination final of 2010. 7 wins, including the grand final, but that might be about to change tonight. But he'll have a decent crack.
Having played with Sydney and Hawthorn, he hasn't played in too many losing games from stop.
Laidler with the up and under. Tippett trying to work through a crowded Fremantle defence. And I thought he was going to get the free kick for a moment, but it's he that's infringed. It's coming back to
but again, what do we
saw Michael Johnson?
Well, what do we see on the entry? We see a 2-on-1. Again, they just do it so brilliantly well. They get back, they help each other out, and as you said, they get back there and then they start their run.
He was cornered, but found a way out. Pearce, with the assistance of Sutcliffe. Little jump from Walters. Beautiful judgment. Didn't take the mark. Didn't matter. Off the back of the pack. Buys himself some time. Spur back to the wing. Pavlich and Richards. It's been another good battle, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But you saw good defensive pressures from Sydney to try to hold Fremantle in their back half, but they didn't panic. The bailout kick was executed in the end, get it out of the area and cause a stoppage midway up the wing.
Closing in on half-time. Nat Fyfe's going to have a chat to Dicko just before we finish here.
High contact, Fremantle.
Some high contact deemed. And which way it's going? It's going to Fremantle and to Nick Subin, who's been a good player as well tonight. With the 10th disposal coming up. Glances down the line. Bit of buffeting work done there on Big Sandilands. He just put out the big tree trunk arms and knocks it out of bounds.
We just saw as Subin was about to take that kick, he got a message from the bench saying, go long down the line, not long to go in the game. So no risks now. Let's just edge it along and shut the quarter down.
Sandilands with the tap. No way out for Kennedy. Hanbury doing his best. Mundy. Hanbury comes again. And then Kennedy. But the siren sounds to win. A fantastic half of football from the Fremantle Dockers. They have been awesome here tonight. 9 goals 3 they've kicked to 1 goal 3 against last year's runners-up. Unbeaten so far this year, Fremantle. And are going to be hard to top as we go down to Ben Dixon.
Thanks, Hutto. Nat, obviously impressive first half, but it's first quarter was about the stoppages and scored some stoppages, just dominated that area.
Yeah, I thought our work around the ball was pretty strong. Hit and tackle and strip, and then getting it forward to our targets and some scoreboard pressure really helped.
And the inside 50s, surprisingly they're even, but it's the efficiency going forward and the dominance, obviously Pavlich early.
Yeah, we know they like to drop numbers back, so it's about lowering our eyes, kicking off the line, hitting some targets. I think we've done that pretty effectively.
And some good starts this year. We know first quarters, but that obviously an impressive half. What will Ross want in the second half?
He won't want to fade out like last week, so big challenge ahead. Looking forward to it.
Good luck.
Well, mighty impressive, that's for sure. Fremantle 9-3-57, leads Sydney 1-3-9 as we take you back to the studio and Gerard Whateley.
Thanks, Hutto. Shades of the preliminary final 2 years ago with Fremantle utterly dominating the Sydney Swans. We'll ask Dermot Brereton, Mark Thompson and Mark McClure in a moment their thoughts on the ever-improving Dockers lineup. Has Sydney got any resistance to put up in the second half, or will Fremantle power on and continue this most impressive display? Back to Domain Stadium with Cameron Mooney, Alistair Lynch and Anthony Hudson.
Thank you, Gerard. Yes, Fremantle has restricted Sydney to just 1 goal 3 here. It's the Swans' lowest first half score since round 5, 2002. A stunning performance by the Dockers. What do the Swans need to do you think, here to be any chance?
We've got to regain some composure. They've had plenty of the ball in hand, but just missing targets. A bit of composure going inside 50, extremely important.
Well, you're spot on. I mean, 62% kicking efficiency. They can't keep the hands on the ball at the moment. That's going to be the big key for them.
Pike and Sandilands resume the duel here at Domain Stadium in Perth. Sandilands got the last tap, down to 5. It's as you were. The kick goes inside 50. Clark and Pavlich careful not to get in each other's way. Good work from Rampy, but it's not coming out of there easily. His follow-up was excellent. He might have drawn some high contact there.
I think the key thing from half-time for the Swans is between the arcs they've got to keep the ball rolling, whether it's chip passing and that, but they've got to keep it going because Fremantle's setting up defensively there extremely well. So I think one thing John Longmire would have said is you've got to roll.
We spoke about that just before up here as well, Dick. I mean, they move if you move the ball slowly, they roll back and they get their defence right back, their midfielders back. And if you go too fast and you miss targets, then they're just going to turn it over, and then Freo are just going to get you on the way back. So it's a tough game for them.
It is a tough game. That's where I think the short use like this draws Fremantle defenders up at the ball. So I think keep drawing them up, get space out the back in the forward 50.
This is what you can't have. Slow, now going down the line.
Well,
they're just going to peel off here.
There was no Sydney player running there.
Reid takes the mark. Pike worked hard to get back, and he might have got in Buddy's way, but that's all right. He took the mark. He had to after doing that. Buddy was coming out.
Buddy's lurking, wants the handball off Pike.
Yeah, he's trying to put the fake on McFarlane here, so drifting away.
But it's great, great defence from McFarlane. He knew exactly what was going on, knew the assets of his opponents, so got up quickly, pushed up in Buddy's face.
So Mike Pike.
He does have a fantastic setup there.
Yeah. He's stopped, he's ready now. He's coming in. Shaping up for goal, looking for the Swans second. That won't be it.
All clear.
They're on the board though in the second half. 1 goal for only.
Hey Ben, just the blue one. Yeah,
just the 1 goal in the first half against Essendon earlier this year in round 1. It was 1 goal 7 on that occasion. And we all know what happened there. So maybe there is hope for them after all. Fife again.
Well, just Fife again. Too much space. He had a free jump at that, and we see if he's got a free run at a ball, he's going to mark it 9 times out of 10.
Thumps to half forward. Pavlich in a one-on-one with Richards, almost. Laidler, Smith, naturally onto his left. Straight across to Reid, who's got Rampy. Next, Cunningham. Had a handicap of about 1.5 meters to make up there, Ibbotson. He did that. Scrambled, followed up with a tackle. Outstanding work. Spur came next. That could have been holding the ball. It wasn't. Reid bundled it up. Gave it to Kennedy. They flick it around. A little bit more authority about the Swans. Starting to flow now at half forward. Jack kept on coming. From outside, he shipped it just a little bit over the head of McGlynn. Favour done to him by Tippett to give it back, but he's got everything going, flailing around. No joy from the umpires. It's out of bounds.
Well, that's a really bad miss from Kieran Jack. I mean, he's only had the 8 possessions or 9 possessions now for the game, but he just had to put that in Ben McGlynn's chest to go back and have a set shot. It was a really poor miss.
Well, almost thrown down by Sandilands. Tippett wanted to get it to Jack. Does he have a shot from there? I think he did. That's out on the full.
It's the early stages. They've had all the ball, Sydney. This would be only the 3rd disposal for Freo. Sydney up to 22. They've been able to manufacture their way inside forward 50, but again, just missing those easy targets.
Spur takes it outside 50. Grundy against Clark. Clever tap from McGlynn. This is better from the Swans, but again, the hassle and the pressure. Here's their full ball from Fremantle.
And the danger here is not getting reward for effort. So they've got ball in hand, but what Freo do so well from this back half is rebound and go into space. So Freo could potentially score from this situation.
Reid to Kennedy. Subin, no way out for him. Swans turn tackless. Try and lock it in their forward half.
So Freo have dropped 1 out of this stoppage. So they've got 1 extra back in front of Tippett, 15 metres out from goal.
Buddy's standing about 30 out from goal.
And Sydney's spare was right inside this contest. That's why they've got the free kick, because they've outnumbered them in there.
Reid's made a good start to this quarter. He's got involved.
Need to be careful. Sandlands at the top of the goal square. Wouldn't be going there.
He's going straight to him. He's got to jump over the giant, and he couldn't do it. He's given away the free, I think, Tippett.
It's not a smart kick. It had to be weighted, as we saw earlier, where Zach Clark took a mark 15, 20 metres out. Had to allow Tippett to run at the ball, not just kick it in front of Sandilands.
He's going to get another chance here, but he just had Pike just inside 50. He just needed to hit him there.
And that's better. Finds Tippett. full extension of the arms for Tippett to hang on and take the mark, but he's done it. And they need somebody to find a way to convert here, difficult as this shot is.
Absolutely. And as we said, the way he holds the ball is an interesting address to get himself settled and composed. Obviously, he's worked on this. But the ball drop is really difficult for where he has his right hand. It's high, and so it's going to be really hard for him to do anything but a high ball drop.
Really tight kick, no margin for error. And unfortunately, it's a little right.
The really good kicks for goal, like a Tony Lockett, who's probably one of the best, his right hand was very low and guided it down onto his boot.
Credit to Sydney so far, boys. They've actually manned them quite well in that little piece of the pie, that three-quarter kick we talk about. Fremantle had to kick it long every time coming out of defence. That didn't happen in the first half, so well done to Sydney so far.
They'll find a way out this time. Hill giving that dash on the wing. Duffield dumped it back with him. Short stuff again is good stuff. De Boer and Hill at a standstill. This time cornered, forced to retreat. Just a tiny amount. Duffield lets fly. Up to the 50. Fife got worked out of it. That was good enough, but he's not out of the contest. He's going scrambling. Full bore at it, over the top. He had someone's boot for a moment. Pav's in there also.
Well, you spoke about before, Lynchy, the dominance of Sydney going in this quarter. I mean, 28 possessions to 13, 11 marks to 4, contested possession 10 to 2, but they just couldn't get the result that they needed. Now all of a sudden, down the other end.
McVeigh feeding Kennedy. Shaw takes it to the wing. Buddy and McFarlane been enthralling. They've been scrapping and scrounging at each other, and that suits McFarlane just fine. That's over the line and out of bounds.
Once again, a good contest. He protected the drop zone and so held Buddy under the ball. So even if he couldn't mark the ball, it dropped from behind. He was the first one back.
Kick 3 against McFarlane when they last met in that qualifying final last year. No easy escape from there. Eventually the whistle comes. So we've gone 7 minutes in this third term for 2 behinds to the Swans. The lead whittled away from 48 to 46.
Big Sandy's having a bit of a rest down in the forward 50 at the moment. He's got Grundy on him at the moment.
Grundy tried to find Neal, poked back the other way instead. Hill, a little bit perplexed as where to go, found a clean path through Clark. And now Neal, as they brandish the ball around with hands getting ever closer now. Some nice fancy footwork, takes them out to the wing. Spur spears it into the space at half forward. Happy enough perhaps to set up. There's a little gentle shove in the back there from Main, and it might be a leg.
Got away with it.
All goes unwhistled. Hard the other way. Smith cops one high.
Well done, Smith. Knew exactly what to do there. Just buried his head in. Went straight at Main. He always knew he was going to get a free kick there. Good tough play.
So this is the fear for Sydney. They've dominated possession, time in forward half. If they can see the goal here, it'll sap the remaining amounts of energy. And look at Smith here, Moons, as you called.
Exactly where Main was. He just dropped the shoulder a little bit. Knew he was going to get head-high contact. It's a shallow throw-in.
Yeah, Shaw watching Fife. Mundy paddles it away. Kennedy puts himself in the thick of it. Parker there as well. Again, a bit of a scrap with Clark and Tippett. Getting a bit agitated. A few elbows being thrown around. Nothing too serious. Mundy takes up the task, but it's Bird. And now Shaw. Skyscraper to the wing. Pike. Johnson. The fist. So for all their efforts, they haven't been able to make much ground on the scoreboard. Still 46 points the difference, but a much better Sydney lineup in this third turn. Much more competitive. Tippett gets it down to Parker and then to Reid. Options went quickly through his mind. He's dumped as he kicked it downfield.
He's had a good start on the third term, Reid. That's his 6th disposal.
Good to see him being proactive. Pike.
Buddy wants it long, quick.
And that's where it goes. Can he get a fair run? He jumps. Hampered by this professional unit in defence. Sutcliffe smothered. Well done by Cunningham. Gets a little tap on the shoulder from Buddy for his good hard work.
And again, it was probably 1 or 2 seconds late.
Yeah.
It just allowed players to get back in front of Bud.
And they're not the kicks that Buddy wants either. He wants to put out in front so he can do his work early and then run onto the ball, not get bombed on his head.
No one in the square. Lloyd. He spotted Jetta. At least we think he did. And Jeddah can have the shot for goal.
We'd be disappointed, Rossi, the way Freo have started this quarter. I mean, if you look at possessions, they're getting belted in possessions for this quarter by 19. Contested possessions, the big one right now, 15-5 in favour of Sydney, and the clearances 6-2. So they're doing all the tough things right now, which is getting them hopefully back into this game.
So Jeddah, careful approach, beautiful, right through the middle. Swan's second goal, finally. After being goalless all through the second term, it's taken until the 10-minute mark of the third quarter, and it's 40 points the difference now at Domain.
Important for Jeddah and important for the Sydney Swans, but more importantly, Jeddah's got his hands on the ball. Hasn't had a big game by any stretch of the imagination. That's only his fourth disposal, his first kick for the game, so they need to get him involved. They just haven't been able to find any space on the outside. On that occasion, it was probably a fortunate kick. Ross Lyon not happy.
No, he wouldn't be happy. He would be really disappointed in how they started. We heard Nate Fyfe speaking with Ben Dixon at half-time, speaking about didn't want to fall off like they did last week against West Coast. Right now, that's exactly how it's looking.
Hope he didn't lose his pen down there.
No, he picked it up. He was a good gather straight away.
Hard ball get. Out of the middle. Which way will it go? Swans with a little bit of momentum. Parker.
We're out here again.
A lot of hands onto that for the Swans to get it out to Lloyd. But uncertainty all over his face. Needs McVeigh.
Well, that was great use. It was a low pass out in front.
And Ibbotson comes up sore. Works it back to Lloyd. Here's Franklin. One-on-one with McFarlane again. Fended it off, buddy. Didn't have any room to work in once it hit the ground.
At least that's a better kick than what it was previous of just going high and long. At least he had his chance to use his body, push back on McFarlane, and then try and create that space in front of him.
And importantly, if they didn't get it, it goes over the line there.
So for the first time, Fremantle feeling a bit of pressure from Sydney. A fumble initially from Hill. Recovered enough to kick it back, but Richards planted in the right
50.
spot now. Oh, that'll be 50. Wasn't much in it really, but just enough.
He might check Ross Lyon's pen because he won't be happy with that, that's for sure. Just trends going against it. It was a late push, not a lot in it, but that's the rules. And Pav has just conceded that one.
Oh, Teddy, don't know about that option.
No, not good at all. Low percentage.
We're just looking at the contested possessions this quarter. 6-17 in favour of Sydney, and then you look at the clearances as well. Sydney really on top, doing all the hard things, which will get them back into this game if they keep doing it.
Hanbury gets the wild handball in the middle, had to follow it up himself. Got dumped. Bird to Kennedy. The main men are in there. They're busting a gut for the Swans. They're trying to lift this team, give them a chance at the start of this third quarter to get back into the match. Equal numbers, though, by Fremantle. And Fyfe at the bottom of it, of course. The ball comes out. Pearce. Nowhere to move. Good work from Tippett. Off to Franklin. Onto the left boot. Heaves it at goal. They're outnumbered deep. Spur on the last line. Desperate defence. Gets it to Johnson. And now back to Barlow at halfback. Surrounded by Swans as it hits the ground. Shaw, McLean, back to the square. Hill will get it into that last line. And he saves the day. Takes the mark.
Well, they've got their numbers deep. And Sydney got the defensive sweepers around the 70-metre arc.
The energy's definitely changed, boys, with the crowd. They're actually cheering now when they get it out of defence successfully, because in the first half they dominated. And we know the crowd got on top, but Sydney just nullified them a little bit here.
Parker with the 5. Anything you can do. Fyfe will try and do better. Reid, one-on-one with Subin. Desperate stuff. Got it away to Parker, and now they can go. Kieran Jack had time to line up Franklin and made sure he hit him.
Well, Sam Reid, he's had an excellent third quarter. He's had the 7 possessions and just contested as well, 4 of them. He's just put his body on the line there, and a couple of boys just going to him in the middle of the ground, just congratulating on that huge effort.
It's the best he's played in a long time, I think, for the Swans, which would gladden a lot of Swans fans' hearts. But Buddy Franklin now to take it from 40 points and try and reduce the margin to 34, which he does.
Because he liked it early.
The Swans are mounting something here at Domain.
And absolutely they are. Buddy Franklin's been the target inside 50 on 7 occasions. He kicked 2 goals, 2 now. And there's a lot of confidence in the Sydney ranks, and there's a few question marks in the certainly the Fremantle ranks, and that's probably why Ross Lyon's not happy. We go back to last week, obviously a great start against the West Coast Eagles, ended up as a good solid win, but they conceded 9 of the last 10 goals last week to West Coast Eagles, so they didn't finish off the game. Just some not good signs here for the Fremantle Dockers.
We look at a lot of their ball winners for Fremantle just can't get their hands on it. Mundy hasn't had one possession, Neal only the one possession, and Walters hasn't had a touch yet this quarter.
Tippett came late with the tap, and it was a good one. Oh, that was high. It could have been high either way. Fife, tough to adjudicate in there. Rowan, the subs on the ground. Duffield forges a path and gets Fremantle forward. Tough one for Tabernar. Not made any easier by the rolling style of Walters, and he's given away the free, which is fair enough. He came through fairly recklessly.
He saw too.
And the free kick going to Laidler.
And Ben Dixon, the sub's been made as we look at the replay.
Yeah, as Hutto alluded to, Gary Rowan's on the ground. Isaac Heaney's been subbed out of the game.
Well, hopefully there's not an injury concern there with Isaac Heaney, but you would imagine there is.
With his form, yeah, no question, not going to sub him off at half-time.
Well, maybe they just had to do something and being proactive. He's found it tough going tonight. Hanbury swings at the centre half forward. Reed's in the forward half now. Couldn't quite cling onto that one, but he gets it moving. Rowan, we know he's got toe. Needs to make sure of this. It was somewhere in between a shot and a pass. And Parker slaps the hands in disappointment.
It was a late decision. A late decision. He eyed off the goals and thinks, I'm going for goals, then saw his teammate in the corridor free and just slaughtered that one. Just see Isaac Heaney getting some attention there. Looks like it's a ice shin or knee.
Sandilands grabbed it. The onus was on him to dispose of it. He did enough. Hill clears it, but again, should be to the Swans' advantage. Rounded up well by Jack. Pokes, or tried to poke it to the leading McGlynn. In error, he's kicked it out on the full, and he's disappointed with himself.
Jeez, that's a couple of kicks this quarter, Jack, that's really let himself down with. He's a great, skillful player. He'd be really disappointed. We've got a 50 here.
That doesn't help, does it, for the Swans?
Well, they had him under such pressure, though, having the ball in their half. The whole game this quarter's been played in Sydney's half, and just something like that just relieves the pressure.
And possessions 68-34, doubled the possessions to Sydney.
Sutcliffe overdid it. Jack takes it from Lloyd. Loath to go down the line when there was nothing for him. Back into the middle from Jetta. Flirting with danger. That danger rises with the fumble from Richards. He'll get it back, though. Good assistance, good hard work from McVeigh and then Cunningham and now Bird.
All of a sudden, the Swans have numbers at the contest.
Rowan takes the mark, glances inside. He's got McGlynn, he's got Kennedy, he's got Franklin charging at. Might go longer. He does, up into the 50. Oh, they come for Parker. Got to be a free kick.
In the face, probably against Fife. Made a reasonable fist of it.
Well, we just talked about Rowan, his kick inside 50 early, which was really poor, but a great decision. Buddy led up, drew 2 players out with him, kicked it over the top to Parker, and then Fife trying to do the right thing, going back with the flight of the ball, but always going to give away a free kick going like that.
He got the ball okay, but then he just cleaned him up on the follow-through. So Luke Parker.
Big shot.
Been a wonderful pickup for the Sydney Swans. Comes in, tense moment, and drills it with absolute class.
Tell you what, there's some real worrying signs. Inside 50s, 11-2 for the quarter. 3 goals, 2 to no score. They've been belted in the early stages of this third term. Clearances in favour of Sydney, as we would expect. Things looking extremely good. Uncontested balls, so the ability to have your possession chains on the outside are right up in Sydney's favour. 50-23, and disposals are still double. 76 Sydney, Freo 35. And Luke Parker is a star, club champion 2004. Time in forward half for this quarter, 70% Sydney.
Dicko, the crowd trying to lift Fremantle at the moment. They can sense how crucial these next few minutes are.
They certainly are, Hutto, the big Freo chant. And just an update on Isaac Heaney, boys. It's the right inside ankle, so we think he's given that a bit of a tweak, so subbed out of the game after a big game last week.
Great smother from Kennedy, allowed Parker to get it out to Shaw, and now Lloyd. The build-up impressive from the Swans. Didn't rush the kick. Rowan's there. Franklin's there. It cleared, got through the cracks, knocked away by Neal. Still there. The bounce could have favoured McGlynn, but Spur on the spot for Fremantle.
Reid, 8 disposals for the quarter. Conversely, for Freo, Hill has 7.
We know the big lift, but Kieran Jack, 6 touches in the first half. Now, he's had 7 this quarter, so, I mean, all their big leaders are lifting right here in the third quarter.
Pearce down the line and length stuff, fisted away. Walters had a battle, got it to De Boer, looked up, saw Main. Laidler does well for the Swans, and even better was Smith, going hard the wrong way, yielding about 30 to 40 metres back Cunningham, but kept it in friendly hands.
Yeah, Ted pulled that kick. He was looking at Reece Shaw in the middle, but Fife was closing rapidly, so thought better. Stay wide. Well, here we go.
Kicked 3-3 to nothing in this third quarter.
Yeah, Jack's broken wide.
Got it back to 27 points. Rowan, after that big run, does well. And he's played with...
It's exactly what you want from your sub when they come in. You want them to do something. And yes, he had a poor kick inside 50 earlier, but now all of a sudden he's starting to put a little bit of imprint on the game.
He's giving them good energy, isn't he? Hanbury, they come from all angles. Sand lands. About 4 bites later, he takes the mark.
And that's going to be tough to get over Sandilands. But the run from one side to the other from Jack and Gary Rowan that's been the difference. They run to support, get numbers to the contest and provide options.
Hill lending a hand across half back on a couple of occasions. He's had 9 disposals this quarter, Stephen Hill.
Well, luckily he has, because nobody else in their midfield is really getting their hands on the ball. Their main players, Mundy, Neal, Barlow, have all had 1 possession apiece. Pavlich, he hasn't had a touch yet, Pavlich. Pearce only the 1 possession as well. They can't get their ball users, their big on-balls that we've been speaking about all week. They can't get their hands on the ball this quarter.
So Barlow down the line. Pavlich does get a touch. Almost marked it. Neal was in the right spot.
5 forward.
Yeah, it's 2 on 2. Fife was about to lunge for it. There's a whistle. I think it's either his
It's
free.
against Shaw for too high.
Yeah.
And that's just the strength of the man. The big mismatch. You get him in a one-on-one inside 50 against Shaw. He's going to be way too strong. He knows how to use his body. He knows how to contest for marks. He's always going to get these free kicks.
And it becomes a panic free kick from the undersized defender. You reach, you grab.
So Freo without a goal through 22 minutes in this third term. Nat Fife steps forward and misses. That's their first score for the quarter. It's a minor. The margin now is 28. Very catchable for the Swans if they can keep this momentum going and maybe get another goal in this term. Hanbury.
That was a good kick. Good long kick deep.
Well captured, goes in to Reid.
He's a different man this quarter, Sam Reid.
It wasn't a great handball. Made Jetta wait an anxious moment or two and created some problems. Shaw just was pretending there wasn't any, but there was Fremantle players everywhere. Duffield almost threw that out to Mundy. Pushed off it by Jetta, pretty effectively, thrown out again, flung out of the pack. Jetta tries to get something running. Shaw through to Smith, to Jetta again, a fumble at the critical moment. He was legged, play on the call. Shaw keeps on going, and are they out? Not yet. Kennedy gets a fit of the fumbles, tried to keep it moving, going hard the other way, Spur, but Jack comes on, takes it, gives to Bird. Fremantle players everywhere around him. Fantastic handiwork, gave it to Shaw, goes with the advantage. Franklin comes hard, top of the arms, that could
50.
be 50.
I think that'd be a harsh call to be 50.
Or who else could the free kick have gone to?
A lot of noise. I haven't seen a lot of those played lately.
Franklin on the wing.
He's just got to get. They're under so much pressure for him. He's just got to get this inside 50.
Ibbetson's lurking at the end
they've
of
got
this.
numbers back. They're getting their midfielders back.
Reid's just poked forward to be a target for them, but doesn't like it. Goes back instead to Shaw.
A patient switch.
Should Buddy go forward at this stage? He's pushed up across the half-forward line.
He was trying to get up and probably lose McFarlane, but McFarlane's
just Jack work rate
staying back.
It was outstanding there. Flicked it off to Rampy. He goes to Tippett. Got on the end of it. Kurt Tippett.
Again, like Parker's shot from the boundary line earlier in the quarter, massive opportunity for Sydney, just to narrow the gap again, but a big kick. Hasn't had a big night tonight, Kurt. Needs to go back and kick this one.
So now comes the hard part for Kurt Tippett. The shot for goal. He's kicked 2 behinds for the night. He's had 6 marks. Needs to hit the scoreboard in a meaningful way.
He likes it.
And he has, right through the middle. The Swans keep coming.
Well, Litchy, this is just an amazing quarter from Sydney. The pressure that they put on early, getting their hands on the ball. We spoke about their kicking efficiency in that first half was under 60 at times. Now it's up to 77%. They're keeping their ball. They're keeping the ball. They're getting their hands on. They're not turning it over, and they're putting Fremantle under so much pressure when they get the ball. But they're putting goal score pressure on, which is the main thing. 4 goals, 3 for the quarter with their 14 inside 50s. It's a fantastic quarter.
Tico, the sub.
Yeah, Matt Tavernar's been subbed out of the game, boys. Tendai Zungu's subbed in. He's just about to come on the ground now.
So a bit more run for Fremantle. Sandlin's got the tap down. Parker, yep, got one high.
It's just starting to turn. Free kicks going in favour of Sydney as well. After late in the first quarter, 6 unanswered goals to Fremantle, 4 now for Sydney.
Challenging kick that he gave himself to half forward. Rowan was a good target, didn't mark it, but he's going to bolt away here, Rowan, into the 50. Hard kick for Franklin, got all the way through. Bird around the corner, Bird on the line, I don't think he touched it.
I don't reckon he has either. Do you want to listen?
He doesn't look too convincing, Clancy, does he? You can always tell when a player definitely knows he's touched it. He will jump up and carry on. He knows, I think he missed that one, Clancy.
Yeah, he's dived over the top of that one. Got the nasty bounce.
I've seen it touch the course across the line. Okay.
Just go up. Just go up, Daggers.
I believe it's touched. Just like checking his eye.
So he thinks it's touched.
Score review. Umpire's
Maybe
call.
Clancy was just super confident.
Please confirm.
I see.
Review underway.
Looks like he's got his hands to it.
You can imagine he should have, but that's not conclusive, is it? I mean, but the umpire has said he thought he touched it anyway.
Yeah, the other angle looks, you can see his fingers bend back just there a bit.
Just there a bit.
No, I think they'll just go with the umpire.
I'm not convinced either.
They'll go with the umpire's call, which is a point.
Umpire's call.
Touch ball.
The crowd not going to be too upset about that here.
Now can Freo get out?
Well, minute 40 remaining in a very tense third quarter. It's been a mighty performance by the Swans. They look down and out at half-time. Anything but now. Hand off by Pike to Rampy. They'll wind it up again. Little Benny McGlynn.
Oh, strength. Power forward, Ben McGlynn. But again, a kick where it allows the Swans forward to run onto it.
And we saw that in the first quarter and first half of Sydney, they took too long. And they allowed Fremantle to get back. Great mark by Pike on the kick in. But then just a quick handball off to Rampy and just kick it straight in there. As soon as you do that with the kick-ins, you know their men are going to be off the Sydney players, so you've got an absolute chance of getting a mark inside 50.
Put this one in the book, boys. Tell the midfielders to get back to the centre square.
Ben McGlynn knows what this kick means. And unfortunately for him, it's way out to the right. But the Swans keep on coming. 4 goals, 5 to 1 behind in the quarter. It's down to 20 points. This did not look likely at all at half-time. They only managed 1 goal, their lowest score in over a decade in a half of football. But suddenly, it's all come together in this third term for the Swans, even though they haven't fully capitalised, as the 4 goals, 5 would indicate.
That's right, inside 50, 16 to 4.
So down the line, 40 seconds remaining. They've dominated the airwaves in this quarter. This one gets through, though. Mundy hammered as he kicked it. Richards, they're swarming forward again. Parker into the middle. Bird needs all that time on offer. Parker zigzagging, unsure, goes short. Hanbury will try and sum this up. Tippett at the top of the goal square. He's got the one-on-one he's after. Got to go to Kurt Tippett. He just looked a bit unsure in running. Can't take the mark. At ground level, slides in. Spur, desperate stuff on that last line. Hill, composed, charges out. has a bounce, and then kicks as far as he can to the outer side, and that will do, unless this mark is taken. Reed to the top of the square, siren sounds, saves the day for Fremantle. The Swans, a remarkable quarter, Lynchy. They've got all the momentum as we head into this last term.
And absolutely, this reinforces we've got on display here tonight. Two of the superpowers of the competition. Freo so good early, but responded. A champion team in the Sydney Swans have played really well. 4 goals, 5, 9 scoring shots in this third term. Set up for a fantastic last term.
Oh, it's their work rate, Lynchy. They're coming out that quarter, and their leaders were special in that quarter too. Look at Jack, 9 possessions, Hanbury 9 as well. It was their big playmakers through the middle of the ground.
Crowd stunned here, but Fremantle lead by 20. A huge last quarter is coming up next. Stay with us.
Sheep, proud partners of Saturday footy on Fox all season long.
Well, after a forgettable first half, suddenly the dangerous Sydney Swans players came to life in the third quarter here in Perth. From 48 points down, they made up more than half the deficit and are within striking distance as we turn for the last quarter at Domain Stadium. Kurt Tippett, didn't he love it as he put that one through? They've kicked 5 goals 8 after managing just 1 in the first half. Fremantle still lead the way. They only managed 1 behind in that term. 9-4-58. Pavlich and Franklin, the 2 guns up forward, the only multiple goal kickers tonight. But it was a stunning third term, Alistair Lynch and Cameron Mooney.
It was a stunning third term. The fact that Sydney started to get their hands on the ball and use it a lot better. Shaw led the way with 12 disposals at 100%, so was Reed. Jack got into the game. Hanbury very good as well, and obviously there's plenty of class still on the field for Freo.
Ben Dixon, how was Ross there at three-quarter time?
Well, he definitely stormed out, Hutto, no doubt about that. Normally you'd break into your lines. He didn't want any of that. He got the group in, quite animated, as we know Ross can be. He's a perfectionist as a coach. But he was throwing the fists around in terms of killing the ball down back because they were obviously getting a run and jump at that quarter, Sydney. And he was critical by the midfield. I could hear him actually yelling that the space they were giving Sydney through the middle was just unacceptable. And I think the way he exited this was probably the best part. So I think you're going to expect a big response from his Dockers this quarter.
Oh, he will be. Look at their midfield. Mundy, Pearce, Neal, Barlow, all their big guys are through the engine room. Only 8 possessions that quarter. Need a big lift.
So it's 20 points. It could have been closer. Sydney kicking 4-5 in that quarter. What a last quarter we're set for. To finish off Anzac Day, it's been a huge day of footy. Tap down from Sandilands. Mundy, they climb on in. The desperational play will be very much on display, you would imagine, in the opening minutes of this final term.
They're looking to get this clearance situation under control as well. Belted 10-5 in the clearances in that third term. Freo need to get back in control where they were earlier in the first quarter.
Yielding some more ground for the stoppage.
It's just interesting with their forward line set up. Sydney at the moment. Buddy but pushed right up. He's now just gone back inside 50, but I think they believe that Tippett one-on-one with Johnson is the better matchup for them.
Little flick away, Hanbury, McVeigh, now with a run, Jack, into full forward, Tippett again. Johnson did well, but Rowan did better and kicks the goal for the Swans, and they're still coming.
Well, you almost called it Moons to it, but the thing was, it went to still a one-on-one contest, so you're isolating the big forward, and Gary Rowan hitting the front. So the ball comes out, good clearance, great clearance win here. Jack again, a great third term, but it's a one-on-one situation, and Rowan comes through, hits the front and centre with pace, gets away from Ibbotson, and since he's come on the ground at the early stages of that third quarter, he's really turned things around. Had 5 quality disposals, and obviously kicked a very important goal when needed.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you're defenders and your midfielders are doing so well and they're winning those clearances. You come off your man, you're comfortable. As soon as you start losing the way they have since this second half, none of them want to come off and help out.
It's down to 14 points. Rowan playing like a man possessed. Kick inside from Shaw. Franklin so close. They scamper in for the ball. They're coming hard. And there's plenty of appeals from the Swans players for a free kick. Lee Spur, the last to climb to his feet. Hands it over, and then Sandilands and Pike take up the challenge. Down to Hanbury. Clean kit would have gone close.
More time, Hanbury.
It's not going to score. Shake of the head.
This is where we saw in the third quarter. Freo are struggling to get it out of their defensive half now. There's called play on, so they're under pressure again.
And feeling it. McFarlane, though, showed good composure. Sutcliffe takes it back to half-back, but Reid...
Big second half from this young bloke.
Stands his ground, looks into the 50. He's got Franklin as a short. Tippett is the longer option. He's challenged Tippett to come out and mark it, and he does. Kurt Tippett with great strength in the arms and strength of purpose, and he'll go back and shoot for goal.
Well, called it before, Lynchy. I think this is the matchup that Sydney are really happy with. You get this guy deep. And it was a beautiful kick from Reid. We talk about his second half. It's been absolutely outstanding, and another big mark underneath the high ball. But just puts it to his advantage. Put it out in front, allow him to come at it. When he does that, you cannot get a spoil on this bloke. He is so big.
They've had 21 of the last 24 inside 50s. They've got it to 14. Kurt Tippett has kicked superbly. And the Sydney Swans are mounting an incredible challenge.
A massive start to the third term. But you're spot on with the Tippett situation, but you've got to get him in a one-on-one situation. Really hard to outmark. We've seen in the first half, Freo's defensive structures to support their isolated defenders, to leave your man, to get over. That was a perfectly weighted 45-metre pass. Grabber, kept it out in front. Really good mark. And as you said, he's a monstrous man. Hard to get a spoil on when he's got the reach going.
We've spoken about Sam Reid on a couple of occasions. He's now just starting on the wing. He's being that guy that's just floating between the arcs at the moment. He's done such a brilliant job in this second half.
Confidence is a wonderful thing. The Swans are full of it at the moment. They're clearing out of the middle. McVeigh, Franklin was a menacing presence. He's given away the free there, buddy.
He's given away a couple of free kicks tonight.
He has to be a little careful, but that'll put the wind up a few, that's for sure. As they come away, McFarlane.
You never mind giving a few of those away, Lynchy.
That's an investment in the future. But I think Bud's in for a big last quarter. He just sensed that something's going to happen with Franklin.
Back to the wing. Oh, he collapsed, took a few with him, Sandlands. McVeigh. Kick back in the middle from Lloyd was okay to Smith.
See, these are the kicks in the first half that Fremantle weren't allowing Sydney. They were such great... Oh, God.
They'd be happy to allow that one.
Jetta makes it look good. Searing ball to half forward. Got through the hands. It was too hot for Kennedy, but they're being forced back here, Fremantle. Ibbotson off the left. Muzungu started as the sub. Looks down the line. Sees 5. Knows he can't reach him. There's a lot of pointing going out there. A lot of traffic cops. Muzungu goes short to the wing. Good hard lead. Main was at the top of the arms. It was.
They had to work for that one. That was a spot-on pass that attracted a free kick, but the defensive structures of Sydney, they're getting in place very early. They're forcing slow ball movement from Freo.
Ibbotson has the ball across half back.
He looks up, there's no options.
Muzungu labouring in the middle to try and give him something. He's going down the line to where the crowd is and where Pavlich is. Flying, Neil, captured, and there's no way out for him.
Well, we've seen in this first 3 weeks, Fremantle, the way they've moved the ball, and it's exciting. But they haven't had that much pressure put on them like Sydney are putting on them right now. And this is where you can fall back into old habits, Lynchy, when you're trying to be this more attacking side. But when you've got the pressure going on you that Sydney are, all of a sudden you don't want to take that kick that we saw them taking in that first half.
Have a look at the numbers here. Disposals last 10 minutes, 30 to not many for Freo, and inside 50s. 8-zip. It's a smashing.
And the crowd doing their bit to try and will Fremantle back. They lead by 8 points, but it's been all one-way traffic. Fife could be the man to change the complexion. Gets them inside 50 at last. Clark stretching hard. Walters a danger at every moment, but he misses.
There's a little half chances, just not going Fremantle's way after in the second half.
Costly miss from Oz. That's a costly miss from Oz. He should have really gone to air on that one. You can see all these guys, they love their grubber kicks at the moment. But that's one where he's so talented, he puts that through middle post.
9 points. Mundy, Spur, taken down by Hanbury. by giving them every opportunity. That there isn't many in there, but Sydney find a way with slick hands. Reid tries to get through Mzungu, couldn't. Hanbury, full body tackle. That's the way it is now. Fife eventually got it. Somehow he got through the labyrinth. Through goes Mzungu again, and Fife kept on coming. Eventually, it took 3 to drag him down. And he's still in the mix, Nate Fife.
Oh, don't go in. What a great effort from Nate Fife. He took on half the Sydney Swans team, but stayed in the contest, didn't give up.
They haven't had the ball in their half for long this half, so they need to squeeze it up and keep it in there.
Oh, there was no margin for error on that kick. Gave them a look at it. Buddy takes it, swings it to Parker, who's got 25 metres on his nearest opponent. Decides to cut back through the middle to Jets. Couldn't quite cling on. And Fremantle close it up. No free kick. It's flicked out. Hanbury versus Hill. Terrific struggles right through the middle of the ground. Reid again gets it back to Jenner.
They got numbers wide.
And they use them too. Utilising Lloyd, tries to hit up Cunningham. He's able to do that. Told to calm down. Parker's free to the left. He sees him. Luke Parker will mark this.
That's a great kick. Great vision from Cunningham to see Parker, who ran out of the middle into that space. Buddy wasn't down there, so he wasn't blocking up his lead, but it provided an option with it spotted up by a really good 45-metre pass.
Well, he had to do it because Buddy was right up in the middle of the ground. McFarlane had dropped back into the space, play that spare man role. So it was a beautiful vision, beautiful kick from Cunningham.
So again, it's Luke Parker. Showed that he could do it earlier. Even bigger stakes now. 10 points the difference. It's not the strike he was after. Now it's back to 9 now.
That's the work rate you want from your midfielders. I mean, Luke Parker received that ball from Franklin on half-back, got forward, get the shot on goal. Obviously, he didn't kick the goal, but that's what exactly Sydney have to do in this last quarter.
Safest kick in. Marked by Spur. Committed to this side of the ground down the line.
They're going to be forced to go to Sandilands along.
It was a bit short, a bit taken off, and Clark came with a running jump. Takes the grab. They've levelled out the contest at the moment, Fremantle. Sydney no longer dominating.
5 1-on-1 here.
It spells danger for Rampy. Stands his ground as they first go at it. He can't get to the line quick enough.
Well done, Rampy.
And it gets over eventually.
It was a fantastic effort for Rampy, because right then he would have been thinking, oh, I'm in a little bit of trouble here, running back inside 50. Could have just about given away a free kick. Fantastic work.
Fife stays up at the contest, so Rampy quickly goes back to the goal square to get away from him. Jetta, who was extravagant but smart, and it takes him to the line, but he decides to keep it going, and it's over and out. 12 minutes 50 remaining in this frantic final term. 9 points the difference. At one stage, it was 48. Since half-time, the Sydney Swans have turned this game around. They've got close. Can they keep coming? Mundy has other ideas. Couple of one-on-ones in the forward 50. Pavlich and Sandlands, couple of old warriors. Well done, Grundy. He's much the same for the Swans. Goes to Main, though. Encircled by Swans. Laidler, taking no chances, takes it over.
To reinforce your point, Hutto, has been all Sydney in the second half. 6 goals to 0 in the second half after Fremantle had kicked 6 straight from late in the first quarter.
Back into play again. Sandlands, the legs are getting weary now. Handball from Kennedy, found his man Lloyd. Bustles out of defence. Goes short to Kieran Jack. He does likewise to Buddy. They're charging on every angle. Lloyd's done a power of work. And now the kick goes into centre half forward. He's got it. Cunningham still busting it up to get to the square, but Lloyd is told just to go back and see what energy you can muster here. He covered a lot of territory.
Spot on, Hutto, and that's the same as the Parker build-up off half-back.
Dicko caught it, didn't he?
Yeah, Lloyd's work from behind the ball carrier to run into that space, and Buddy had pushed right up the ground. There was a lot of grass north of the contest, and he ran extremely hard, as you said, honoured by a beautiful kick from Franklin.
Jake Lloyd has had a big night, as his numbers would suggest. 22 disposals, but this, by far, his biggest moment. To cut the margin to 3 points on tired legs. He wills it home. They are protesting, but it comes to nothing. It's a goal.
7 unanswered. Franklin, again, getting involved. We just feel that he's about to take the game by the scruff of the throat, but it's more about work rate that John Longmire would be happy with.
I think Johnson's saying he touched it on the man on the mark.
And the boundary umpire came in as the goal umpire was signalling, saying he thought it was touched. So there's a bit of confusion down there.
Now let's have a look at this one then.
Good break.
Hard to tell.
So they are doing a review.
Yeah, we'll give you time, mate.
Well, from that shot,
they've got to be convinced.
You would expect that he's probably touched it, but you can't. Score. It's not conclusive.
Umpire score.
Well, umpire scored a goal.
And so it is.
It's a goal, Rob.
Yeah, been deemed a goal.
Well, you spoke about Buddy Franklin and what he's doing. That was a beautiful lead up through the middle of the ground. McFarlane actually thought he was going to double back into the goal square, so he just took off waiting for it. Buddy just pulled up the anchor, came back at Jack. Beautiful lead. Then, like he had scored it, just a magnificent kick to Lloyd running inside 50. The work rate for their midfielders, and Dicko caught it, has been extraordinary this second half.
Well, they've outworked Freo's midfield. They were dominated in the first half, but certainly Franklin, you know he's going to do that double lead. He's going to lead first, double back, then go again.
Crowd stunned. Fremantle haven't kicked a goal since the 25-minute mark of the second term. Sydney are within a goal of the lead. They're within 3 points of the lead. Urgency required. Five takes it inside. Big Sandilands comes out. Those thundering footsteps. Gets it off. And it's over to Matthew Pavlich. But he misses.
Still, just half chances. They haven't dominated possession by any stretch of the imagination. They're still slightly down in this quarter, but down in the half considerably. But those half chances, one missed by Walters, one from Pav.
Rampy continues that aggressive approach. Sights on Rowan. Wasn't the best of kicks, but did found him. And now they can go again. Been so creative, Lloyd. Into the middle for Hanbury. Had plethora of options and he couldn't find any of them. Ran straight to Sutcliffe, 5 feeding Subin, and now it's all go. Clark, Pav calling for it long, he goes short on the half volley. Muzunga shaped the kick in front of Pavlich. Instinctive kick, superbly executed, and Pavlich to line them up.
He knew Grundy had fallen back in behind him there. There was a 2-on-1 for Sydney, and instead of just kicking it high, he just kicked it across his body, right across the other side of the ground, where only Mitchy Pavlich could get to it, and that was an absolute beautiful kick from Muzunga.
As soon as it's left the boot, Ted Richards knew that he was gone. He could not be possibly in a worse position, but it was on the back of a great kick.
Kicked some big goals in that close game at the start of the season against Port Adelaide, and here he is now, directly in front of goal. For such a professional, he'll just go back and try and block everything else out, and coolly and calmly slot the goal. And finally, Fremantle kick a major, and it's back out to 10, thanks to the skipper.
Just they needed a goal to stop the rot. The scoreboard pressure was just overwhelming, but great build-up from Freo, and the pass inboard was just outstanding. Let's have a look here, just the build-up here and the pass. To actually hit the target when you're under that much pressure is really difficult. Pulled pass from Muzungu. He looked up, took him half a second to assess the situation, saw there was space out in front of Pav, hit a low pass on the chest.
I spoke about their midfielder, Fremantle, getting back involved in this game. Fife's had 5 for the quarter, but Mundy, more importantly, he's had 4 as well. Spurs getting his hands on it, and it was a great decision by Clark as well not to bomb away.
Fremantle needed it, boys, because they've been the best contested team this year so far, but Sydney have just taken it up to them. They're plus 21 for this half, so Sydney are not only running them, they're also getting them on the ground.
They're going to keep coming, the Swans, by the look of it. Smith's kick a little errant, and it's comfortably marked by Johnson across half back for Fremantle. We're down to the last 10 minutes. What a struggle it's been. Sydney 48 points down at half-time. They've really dominated this second half. But that goal from Matthew Pavlich has given some hope for Fremantle that can withstand this challenge. Ibbotson.
McFarlane wants it wide, but it's risky.
Mundy, Jack's got a run, he'll spoil, but he couldn't stop Mundy's grip, firm grip on the footy.
That's when it's handy. Your midfielders are 6'3". And Mundy, good reach, too big and strong.
Started off as a defender in his early days. And aimed the kick for the middle of the ground. And finds Subban. Barlow keeps coming, he's going longer. He's going to Fife. Fife and Rampy. Fife gets inside, brushes them off with disdain. Left foot kick. No good. Kennedy. Pike. And a cruel kick comes away from Rampy, and the Swans' teamwork was excellent.
Oh, Fife, he just ruined every chance of goal of the year, just about. Right. He should have got himself.
Well, he looks so dangerous at one end, but he looks dangerous at the other end. That's dangerous.
Yeah, that's extremely dangerous, and that's a free kick to De Boer. And he plays the late advantage to the umpire. Mundy bundles it up for Pearce, and he misses everything except the behind post.
Just a risky kick, that 45, but it was elevated.
Well, 10 points down with, what, 5 or 6 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go. You've almost got to take those chances as well, but you've got to know that you just can't give it airtime through the middle of the ground, not with the way we know Fremantle love to defend.
Oh, it's a lot of time, Moons, 8 minutes. Let's see what they
Fremantle just look like they've got control again back in the game. We just saw them marking the ball down their back line, wasting a little bit of time, making Sydney come to them a little bit more in this last 5 minutes.
Yeah, once again, yeah, that's spot on, drawing the defence of Sydney out.
Oh, and again, comes up short with the kick. Ibbotson, Walters, it bounced.
That hasn't got there.
And the umpire saw it, works his way out. Ibbotson goes again, and again the kick is well short. Chance for the Swans defence. Richards takes on Neal, dismisses him eventually. Jack, duck back out the back. Smith back to the wing. High ball, great mark taken by Kennedy. Timing's everything. He's got it at half-back. True leader, back into the middle of the ground. McVeigh, he also spots something on the outer side. Tough one for Jetta. He had to go. He's given away the free, but at least it helps out.
That's not a bad free to give away there, Jetta.
Clancy Pearce senses the moment, brings it in to Fife. Too far out the score. Pav wants it long in the square.
Kennedy's got back, pushed back really well. Got to be patient here.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, Main is the man hit inside the 50.
That's the patience of Freo to go short, then wait till something opens up, just get it inside. It's going to be a long shot at goal, but they didn't just blaze away to where they were outnumbered at the top of the goal line.
You just feel the last 5 minutes, they just started to get the arm wrestle back in their control. And again, we talked about just controlling the ball, and that's what they did really well for about 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, you just feel Fremantle just got control again.
The picture of perfect concentration. Chris Main comes in. 10 points the difference for a couple in a row for Fremantle. It won't be. It fades, and it's a behind, and it's still less than 2 goals in it.
They still need to take these half chances, Freo, to lock this away.
Grundy pinned into that back pocket, but not for long. Laidler, they trust their hands. Richards, after a fumble, rushes it onto the boot. Gets it out of there, Parker. Critical touch it was to Pike, to Jack. The handiwork again on display of the Swans. Rowan tried to get rid of Fife. Did enough. Bird, uncertain. Kicks for Reid. He comes up at it. Takes the mark. He's rediscovered his best form tonight, Sam Reid. Timely too. Just outside his range, you would think.
Well, he looks confident. He went back with a purpose, actually.
I reckon he'll have the length on this.
Well, he is a beautiful kick when he gets onto them. Sam Reid, he's having that sort of night. Strolls to 51. Pins back the ears. And, it hasn't got there. Yes, it has now.
Must have hit the post.
Tippett.
I would think it's hit the post early. There's going to be a review.
I believe it's hit the post. Could we please check?
I reckon off the initial spoil has hit the padding and then gone down for Tippett to have the snap. So
review underway.
It should be easily seen on replay if it indeed has hit. So the spoil comes in. No, it's before that. No, I think they're looking at the wrong
footage.
The wrong footage.
This is the one right here.
This is the one. So off Tippett, hit the padding.
You're not going to see it on that angle there because it looked like body.
On this one. Yeah, it's pad. Oh, is it
or is it his leg?
Oh, actually.
That's in his leg.
I have to have a look at that again, but that looks like leg.
Review completed.
Oh, that's early.
Confirmed behind.
Oh, that's very early.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think we might have a look at that one again. Because it was a quick call.
Very quick. Look. Yeah, I thought it came off the leg. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Yeah, indeed. Johnson kicks back to halfback. Rowan again.
He's been fantastic since he's come on as a sub, Rowan.
10 points the difference. Gary Rowan to the square. They'll all get a run at it. Muzungu, Tippett took on 3. It got to the back, but he's trying to lay a tackle. McFarlane.
He split the pack there. Tippett goes at the ball. It was a dirty old floater coming in, but he split the pack, got the ball to ground. And now the defence of Freo under siege. They're under enormous pressure back here now.
Again, safety first. Conservative kick into the back pocket. Gets off the line. Spur takes the mark. And then kicks to half back. Richards comes, charging through. Locked up Barlow. Fife being forced to retreat. Subin, though, comes with a rush. Kicks Fremantle back to the wing. Rampy tries to track it back. De Boer hassled him, but Rampy was cool. It was calm and kept on coming again. Lost to the ground level. De Boer. Hanbury. Tired legs out there. It's heavy going. McVeigh wades back through the traffic. Reinforcements arrive. Richards, but McFarlane's got this one covered. We're down to 3 minutes 51. It's starting to get critical for the Swans.
Mundy's pushed back to give him that spare man here.
One mistake, though, could open it up still for Sydney. Mundy inside the defensive arc. Called on by the umpire. Called on to trust his skills. And trust Nat Fife!
Oh! You can trust he's going to do that. That's a huge grab. At this time of the game, when he's worked hard and under pressure his team, that's a huge contested grab.
Kicks to half forward. Sandilands, Pike just hurled that out. Gary Rowan, maybe overconfident that time. Barlow caught in the crush. Here's Subin with the manoeuvre. Gets it carefully just outside the 50. Clark brings it in. Aiming up Pavlich. Nick Smith, heroic stuff. Takes the mark. Looks to kick out wide. It won't get to Jenner, at least not yet. Jack versus Muzungu, who's worked hard for the Dockers since he's come on. It's still up for grabs in the middle of the ground. Anyone's ball. Mundy's ball into the 50. Walters, yes, got it at ground level. Then he's got. It comes out. They're charging. Hill. And now...
Oh, it's on too. There's a bit going on.
Going to be a free kick here.
Walters is going to get himself in strife here.
Sydney, have a free kick.
Sydney free kick. You can see it happen, Litchie.
Oh, I tell you, there might be another pen going in the coach's box as well.
Dangerous handball. Laidler, they've rushed it out. Richards, tough for Bird against Pearce, who made the spoil. Rampy knows there's trouble. Tried to fight his way out. Pearce swings onto that trusty left boot to full forward. Depth on the kick was outstanding. Grundy against Clark, and Walters back to the goal square. And it's over the line. Yes, it is. And we have 2 minutes 10, ladies and gentlemen, remaining.
Have you tried one of those shots before, Moons? Optimistic at best.
How are you handling the pressure? Fremantle leads by 9 points at Domain Stadium. It's been a mighty effort by the Swans, and they're still trying. Fife stripped of it straight away. Can they lock it in here, Fremantle? Swans have got to get it out.
Well, they just can't get it and bomb it out there, Hutto, because if they do that, they'll mark the ball Fremantle, and then they will kill the game with possession of the ball. They have to run this out and try and get it over the top.
Under 2 minutes remaining. They might be able to do it.
There they go.
Buddy Franklin at half-back flank.
Reed's in space.
Hits Reed. McLean is charging forward. Told to kick it to him. Reed does just that. Those tired legs. Muzungu closed him out. Got a fist to it in fantastic style. Gets it to the line. And the Fremantle fans salute Tendo Muzungu.
That was that gut running from midfielders or defenders that we saw from Muzungu there. Left his man, powered over to chop off the McGuinn lead.
It's now or never for the Swans. A minute 30, they need 2 goals. Mundy, clean pair of heels, kicks to half forward. Grundy comes, kills it, gets it over the line. 1:27 on the clock.
Oh, it's very tight.
That's where it's so important you have a 7'8" ruckman who can just put it down the throat of your on baller with under 2 minutes to go, you just get a clearance of that stoppage.
Exhausting stuff. Over the top, Reid thumps it back towards the wing. Pearce was confronted by Parker. The zigzag was impressive. Mzungu again. Driving kick to half forward to Fife. Who else? Can't take the mark. Rampy. Through comes Hanbury. Clean hands. Is there a path out? Grundy had to go short and he knew it. Everton got a good look at it. Over to you, Chris Mayne. Now it's done.
Well done, Everton.
It's done for Fremantle. Boy, they've had to labour in this half, but they've got there.
On the back of build-up of pressure from the defensive structures of Freo, they worked really hard. Ibbotson going into this round was the leading intercept possession winner in the AFL, and that was not a disposal. It was just a really good spoil. Left his man, made the spoil, set up a goal. Fantastic goal assist. Chris Mayne kicks truly and just puts a bit of ice on this game. 15 points up. Been a cracking last 10 minutes. That's only Freo's second goal in the second half. They've been under the pump. They needed to kick another one to just hold Sydney off.
So the last minute now. Sandilands, Kennedy. It's been a magnificent effort by the Swans, but full credit to Fremantle. And they were challenged severely. They've had the answers. Franklin still trying in this last minute. And he finds McGlynn.
Outside range.
It looked like he played on. Finds McVeigh. He'll go back and have the shot for goal with 20 seconds remaining. And unfortunately for the Swans.
Always going to do that with the rush.
No, they've spent it all.
Magnificent comeback, though, from the Swans. I mean, to be 48 points down.
Would have been the fifth greatest ever comeback from half-time if they'd been able to do it, which is astonishing.
It was huge. 1 goal to half-time. Sydney looked like they were no hope. But whatever Horse said at half-time, it worked.
They summoned everything they had, the Sydney Swans. And they gave it their all, but Fremantle, triumphant. They were scary in the first half and resilient when it mattered in the second. What a game of football at Domain Stadium. It's Fremantle winning by 14 points. The first time ever they've started the season with 4 wins in a row.
What a massive display of talent. These two teams, they'll play a few nail-biters throughout the season, and they may meet at the last month of the year as well. Fife over the course of the game was outstanding. 27 disposals. He had 8 clearances, kicking his 1 goal too. On the other hand, Hanbury continues on his merry way, averaging 30 disposals for the season so far. He's had 31. He's had 6 clearances himself, 16 contested possessions. He's been an absolute superstar. And speaking of superstars, Ben Dixon's got one down there at ground level.
Thanks, Litchy. Chris, first half, 48-point leaders going in. Ross would have been, yeah, this is great, let's keep it going. Tell us about that second half.
Yeah, look, not what we want, and not our footy as well, not our brand, but to Sydney's credit, you know, they're a grand finalist from last year. They're a quality side, top 4, last probably 4 or 5 years, so we knew they were going to come. They got heaps of quality in their side, and they really, you know, they put us to the test. But to the boys' credit, you know, we just keep sticking at it. Our midfielders got to work, and our backs were really good. And, you know, to come away with a win there is excellent.
Yeah, finals like atmosphere. Tell us, you kicked the last goal there and the crowd just electric, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, you know, that was Gareth Gibbetson's goal. No trail ends, put the fist in. I was lucky enough to end up on the end of it, which was good, and lucky enough to finish. So, yeah, to the boys' credit, it was a great win. And, you know, next week now, that's what it's about.
Ross spent 3/4 time with you the whole time. What was his main points?
Oh, look, you know, that third quarter was pretty poor on our behalf. You know, we stopped running in a way and they got on top of us, and to their credit, you know, they got up and got going. But, you know, the fourth quarter, we kind of stuck to the principles that we're good at and able to come away with a win. And look at this crowd, absolutely amazing, you know, on Anzac Day. You know, we couldn't be proud of our fans.
Great start to your season, well done.
Thanks, mate, cheers.
Well, it turned out to be a bit of a cracker in the end, didn't it, boys? I mean, that first half we were thinking, oh no, this is going to be a bad game, a bad round of football. All of a sudden, they've just come flying back. Sydney, they should be very proud of how they played that second half. a lot to work on, with that first half. But again, you look at Fremantle, brilliant first half, but geez, they're going to have to really sit down and have a really good look at that second half and see where it all went wrong for them.
Oh, that's right. Very similar to last week. I know they won easily against West Coast by 30 points, but conceding 9 of the last 10 goals last week and then conceding big goals in the second half this week is a concern. Sydney were plus 53 in disposal, so they were very good in that second half. And it sounds like Ben Dixon's downstairs with one of the absolute superstars, Nate Fyfe.
Thanks, Lynchy. Nate, in terms of our chat at half-time, we thought you might have been a little bit of control, but, I mean, still got the 4 points, but what an effort by Sydney.
They're a quality outfit. We know how good they are. We knew they were going to come to play in the second half, and full credit to them. Yeah, we really fought it out right to the end, and just nice to get away with a win.
We know Ross is obviously a perfectionist, but what they brought in the third quarter was obviously the spread and run and everything, just opened you up a little bit. We haven't seen that much this year from you guys.
Yeah, they did. It shows how quickly you become an ordinary side. I suppose we got a few goals on them in the first quarter, and they did to us what we did to them in the third. So it shows little laps can really open you up.
You yourself had a great game, but how did you find the energy to take one of those grabs? Just jump on top late in the quarter and contender for Mark of the Year?
Yeah, I just got lucky, I suppose.
And Pav was in the wars, but he watched it unfold. He's in great career form, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, he's a warrior. We know what he's capable of, and he's really got a new lease of life, so we can just keep pumping the ball in and hopefully he can kick a few bags for us.
What's the crowd? Is it 3 or 4 goal to have the Purple Haze cheering like they do? What is it? What's the advantage?
Oh, I don't know, mate. They're a great crowd. We love playing in front of our fans, and they were first class again today.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
39,000 here at Domain Stadium tonight, and what a contest they got. We weren't expecting it at half-time when the margin was 48. Nat Fyfe, 27 disposals tonight. The first time he's fallen short of 30 this year, so pretty ordinary, really.
So he can't get the votes.
Well, we have a look at even the inside 50s. I mean, Sydney 47 to Fremantle 39. They just completely choked them up in that second half, Sydney. They were fantastic, but from a Fremantle point of view, you just probably knew Sydney spent those tickets trying to get back into the game. And when we spoke about, 10-minute mark into that last quarter, they probably just felt like they got the game back in their control. They started marking the ball a little bit. They started pulling the Sydney defenders out of that defence and really started opening the game. I'm just looking at Nat Fyfe at the moment. He's just run up into the crowd.
He's the people's champ. Got up into the crowd. There he goes.
He's gone up there. He's given somebody a ball or a jumper or something. And
he's got one of those hairdos like you used to roll with about 5 or 6 years ago as well, Moons. But he's
just better looking.
Bit of Pat Cash about that too.
Absolutely.
But nothing he can't do at the moment. He doesn't need to pass anywhere here. He just goes wherever he likes.
I think that's across the board in Western Australia. He's got the goal pass everywhere. But the credit to both teams at different stages. It ebbed and flowed, and we saw on the back of Fyfe in that first 15 minutes. Clearances 8-1, but Sydney arrested that back and then they won the clearance count at the end of the day. But a fantastic contest, and great to watch so many talented players, and these teams will go deep into the season.
And this game means a lot to Fremantle and to the supporters of football in Western Australia. It's the 20th Len Hall game. Len Hall was a member of the 10th Light Horse Regiment. He died. He was the last remaining Western Australian Gallipoli veteran. He died in 1999, age 101.
Let's have a look. Freo's next 4 rounds. They've got Melbourne next week. It's just gone off the screen. They won't worry about that anymore. But look, they really need to get these wins. We spoke about this before. They need to get these wins on the board early, because we saw their older players last year at the end of the season just fall over a little bit. See Lockie Neal going off for his 50th game. They just fell off the pace a little bit at the end of the year, so they can get these wins on the board early. They can go to round 14-15, Hutto, and they've got only 2 losses on the board. You can start resting your players, start resting these older guys. When you go into the finals, they're fresh, not like last year.
Week's a long time for Lockie Neal. Last week 42, tonight 9.
That's right, and that's the thing. You're going to rack up big possessions. Teams are going to put a lot of time into you, so it's going to be hard for him over the next few weeks, but he'll work through that. It's been an impressive 50 games. His last half a dozen or 8-10 games have been outstanding. He's grown into a very good player, but yeah, a bit of a reality check, but he'd be very relieved that his team's coming away with the 4 points on a massive occasion here at Domain Stadium. Sydney and Freo have some great contests, and they'll continue for many years.
Anzac Day on Fox Footy.
The Dockers remain unbeaten in season 2015, staving off the Swans at the last. Remarkable symmetry about tonight's matches, with both grand finalists of last year charging home from enormous deficits only to fall short. Fremantle and Port Adelaide victorious over the Sydney Swans and Hawthorn respectively. That got good. The whole night picked up in the last hour and a half.
Certainly did, and Sydney were gallant in defeat in the end, weren't they? The Hawks, we'll talk about them in a second a little bit. Yeah, they came home with a wet sail as well, but that was an incredibly good game. Fremantle had to steady, because there was 16 minutes to go. They were on the canvas. No run, no winning of the loose footy, and Sydney are doing all the scoring. Yeah, Fremantle had to re-establish themselves.
Yeah, it was a good effort to hang on, I think, in the end, because it was a long way out when they gained control, wasn't it? Yeah. It was about the 16-minute mark. So, yeah, they were on their knees, Fremantle, and they hung on and kicked a couple of late ones, and Ross would be relieved.
109 marks the Swans took.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
The game.
Yeah, the statistics are incredible. Their clearances were 38 to 29 against Freo. Then at half-time they were level. And then they had 39 inside 50s to 47 from Sydney. And they won.
Fremantle have had 39 entries for the game.
For the game to 47 and won. And then they've kicked 2 goals, 5 in the last half and 1 point in the third quarter and staggered over the line. They've got some problems too.
Yeah, sometimes the numbers do lie, but we have 4 heavyweights in the competition. This is going to be a season at the top to savour one fancies, even though it's the middle of round 4. We'll wrap all of this up as we continue on with this Anzac Day coverage now into its 12th hour. We'll have David King in the lab, John Ralph in the newsroom, Mark McClure, Mark Thompson and Dermot Burton with all the analysis from a day in football.